I'm getting as I'm ready.
And we're live. Hello and welcome to the 103rd week of Tuesday Nights Game Theory Gang number 35 with myself, Maddie Allen, ChrispyMan, and Tobiwan Hexobi. Hey guys.
Howdy. Hello.
Hey Toby.
We've got him on loop, man. There he is.
Okay. Yeah, that was smart. So we got a great show for you tonight.
Technical difficulty, sorry. At least I got a real mic and headphones and the whole deal now.
You look great, man.
I don't know about all that, but I hope I sound better. I know I've blown a lot of eardrums over the years, so I finally set up my mic and why not?
Nice.
Very good, very good. Well,
you're looking better. Your eye looks better. How you feeling? Your eye's looking better. There's the baby blues back, not the evil lizard eye anymore, so that's better.
Yeah. Well, I am still recovering, and it's not easy, but here we are. Just trying to have a good attitude, and I'm really excited to see you guys and be on the show. It's the highlight of my day.
Happy to be here, man. Happy. Mine too, actually. It's been kind of a shitty day for me, so when you sent me that message, I'm like, right on. Maddie always brings the good vibes, so I'll hop on and cheer myself up.
Yeah, I think it's a good time to try to make. It's the right way to say this. I think people need to have more hope than they do. So
yeah,
more hope we can spread, the better.
I have hope. You know, a lot of people say that the reason the price of HEX has been going down is because we haven't had the band get back together yet. And so I'm still working on that diligently. I thought we were going to have Kareem on tonight.
Oh, man. That'd have been
but
fun.
We might have to wait until next week.
Well, he can join. He can join anytime, right?
That's right. And anybody who can get a hold of Wales, if you are in contact with Wales, he is more than welcome to come on anytime on Tuesday as well. Cool. Naga Bo is in the house. Yo, what's going on, Naga? Can we send you a link? You want to hop on?
The bottom's in, man.
Naga's back. Look out.
Bottom's in.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's there's been a lot going on in crypto this week. Lots of Hexicans doing victory laps around Twitter, telling everybody that Richard and the Hexicans told you so, that not your keys, not your crypto type thing. Mm-hmm. And still lots of uncertainty and doubt regarding Hexicans in general, whether they have a YouTube channel or not, being sent subpoenas. And, you know, what are they going to find? Exactly. Everybody already knows. We've already been talking about these issues for a long time, and it, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if the SEC was shocked at how honorable our community is.
Absolutely, yeah. Nobody's ever given me shit. Well, they've given me shit, but they haven't given me any money. That's for sure. Or any crypto, any money, any. Hell, I can't even get a free T-shirt out of Hex merch. It's like I've been pimping those guys out forever. And it's like, dude, it's like I did get a 10% discount though, but I think that's available for everybody now.
If I had $1, if I got paid $1 for every time somebody trolled me or ruined my day on Twitter, I think I would. You know, I think I'd be way better off than these paid shills out here. You know?
That's a fact. That's a fact, for sure. You guys know all about the highest of stakes box set thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's going pretty well so far. I think I'm excited about it. I ordered one for myself because, you know, apparently no freebies for the investors, but it's like, what the fuck, Pat? But yeah, even we got to pay for them. So I bought a few extra for Christmas gifts and stuff for some of my onboards and family members that I thought would appreciate that. And kind of kicking around the idea of maybe doing a Twitter giveaway for one at some point. Obviously, we won't have those in our hot little hands until the movie actually releases. But something cool to look forward to.
So what's included in the run-of-the-mill set?
It's basically the same thing as everything else. The only difference is with the premiere boxes, as I call them. Those are the ones that are 5555, and those come with 2 premiere tickets to one of the premieres. It's looking likely that we can't say for sure yet, but it's looking likely we'll have a European premiere, which will be in London, and a domestic premiere, which will be in New York. Maybe outside chance there'll be another in LA, but likely the first 2. And, once we get that kind of more hammered down, of course, that'll be announced. And then those 2 tickets, you can use those to go to either premiere, accommodations and whatever on your own dime to get there, but you'll have a ticket to the show. And then the number 1 box is like the special pimped out thing where they have a concierge help you arrange your travel and accommodations and really roll out the red carpet for you, private dinner and screening for, you and 3 friends. So you could actually split that up 4 ways if you felt so compelled. And you get a meet and greet dinner and show with RG3 and Big K, who are big parts of the film and also investors, and the whole film crew. So that'll be pretty interesting for the person that decides to pop for that one. And then the basic boxes and all the boxes.
We interrupt this unpaid programming.
Is that Hex Monkey?
To announce a special announcement. Hex Monkey is in the house.
Hex Monkey in the house.
What's up, fellas?
What's up, Monkey? Good to see you, bro.
You too. Yeah, my paycheck from Richard just cleared, so I'm able to come on.
Bad joke.
Yeah, too early.
You can reach him at hexmonkey.com.
All right.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing?
We're doing.
There.
I'm describing all the goodies that come in the highest of stakes box. So just to wrap that up for Crispy's question, so all the boxes come with a DVD of the movie, a special featurette and outtakes I think everything's going to be Blu-ray, of a special featurette they're putting together, same production quality as the movie itself. You can imagine they've got hundreds probably of hours of content. So they're whittling that down now to come out with a really cool featurette that will only be available in the box set. And then you get no tickets with that one, but you get an LP of the orchestral soundtrack on, I believe it's kind of a pinky orangey colored vinyl, really cool album art, also exclusive to the box set. Can't buy that separately. And then what else? I think that's it. And then obviously you get like this cool leather box with like a gold plaque, and it's exclusively numbered 1 through 555. The first tranche of boxes is available now. I believe last I checked, we were about 3/4 of the way sold out already, which is great considering it's only been out for a few days. And then in the future, the price is likely to go up. So if you want to get a box, I would recommend definitely locking that in as soon as you can. And then there may be a giveaway for the basic boxes for some premiere tickets. You didn't hear that from me, but that is something that's being kicked around where there might be a random drawing. So if you buy a basic box, you get a shot at getting some free tickets.
Sweet.
Yeah, so pretty exciting. Cool stuff. Yeah, we had Grant on with RG and I the other night, and then Pat's looking to do a stream with us sometime soon to kind of give his 2 cents on what's happening. We've got a sales agent on board. We're looking at different offers with different streaming companies, still shooting for Q1, maybe as late as Q2 of next year for it actually to stream on whichever platform picks it up. And that's all dependent on their scheduling. So, hopefully we have a deal closed by the end of the year and we'll have a better idea of when it'll actually premiere. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think it might coincidentally coincide with the Pulse Chain launch in Q1 is what my gut's telling me. But I don't know. Richard doesn't return my calls. What's that?
You're such a tease.
Well, everything's a tease, it's like, we've got to be the most patient community in crypto, right?
Yeah,
by definition. The definition of hecticin.
Yeah.
Just FYI, I sent a invite to Nagabo on Twitter if he wants to jump on here.
Yeah, Naga's good stuff, man. I got to meet him briefly in Vegas. He is a charming man. Very, very entertaining for sure.
I like that you put an LP in the box. That's a nice touch for the old timers.
Right? Yeah,
Well
I thought
done.
it was cool, man. I'll have to dust off my record player when I get it.
I was going to say the same thing about the DVD, man. What are you going to do with the DVD?
I know, right? Well, we talked about
You're going to go buy a player.
we talked about doing the whole thing as physical items and NFTs. But since Richard's come out pretty strongly against NFTs in general, even though he's teased that he might do an NFT of the diamond at some point, we just elected not to go that route at this point. I thought it would be a cool idea, especially for the premiere tickets, because then you could sell those to somebody else if you wanted, and you could keep the physical tickets as a keepsake, and then you could sell the actual digital ticket to someone else. And to have, the way NFTs work, you can attach any kind of media to it. So, you could do the movie or the outtakes or whatever to an NFT. But, at this point, that is not in the cards. If we get enough of a outcry from the community that would be interested in something like that, then maybe they would reconsider. But that got shit canned pretty quickly. And it wasn't because Richard said so, because he doesn't really have any say over any creative control of any of this. He signed off on his likeness in the film, but this is purely the highest stakes company that we've invested in to put this out. And our idea behind all this is just to try to be profitable but not silly with the merch. We got to cover our costs. It's a lot of money that goes into the production of those things. And it's really about marketing, because maybe BitBoy is going to get sent one, and maybe maybe Michael Saylor will get sent one, and I don't know. So it's going to be something that hopefully you'll see a lot of pictures of when people start getting the boxes online, and then get more people talking and aware of the
You guys
film
doing a postcard thing?
No, we're not doing
Outrage
anything like
marketing?
that. No. We're keeping it pretty straight laced. Kind of keep it in line with kind of what the film is, which is kind of like middle path. It's like, and that's the whole idea with that. You're doing it for no coiners. We can't throw a bunch of jargon around that they're not going to understand. Their eyeballs will glaze over in 20 minutes, if not less, if we start using a bunch of terms that we understand but they don't. So we don't do too much of a deep dive in the movie as far as what HEX is or TShares are, but it gives enough there that it piques people's interest, I think, and definitely it talks about pulse chain, so I think that's really great. But it gives both sides. This could be the scam of the century, or this could be the best performing asset in the history of man. So it plays both sides of that narrative to keep it entertaining. Because it's if it's just like the Coinbase promo, which is what that was.
Spoiler alert, we need to in case the SEC is watching, we need to spoil the ending. Is it the greatest con of all time, or is it the greatest performing asset?
Have to tune in. Time will tell, right? Time
really?
will tell. Time
I think
will
the
tell.
price chart already proved one of those.
Right. Well, it's they got to keep it interesting for the movie. I think
Is
I know what it
anybody
is.
not down to their bottom dollar?
Dude, I'm wrecked. If you're looking at since last September.
Let's talk personal finance.
Yikes.
Enough about the $500,000 movie chill of merchandise.
$250,000, but still.
$250,000. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
350,000.
The boxes were going to be $1,000, and I screamed.
You talked him down.
I talked him down, man.
Ledge,
I'm like,
man.
we gotta. All the investors were like, whoa. It's like, this is not the time, for that. And it could go up in price, but 555 we thought was a good market.
I think anybody who's this is your first cycle in crypto, you feel wrecked, and you feel like how we felt when we were in our first cycle of crypto and we were down on our investment 70%. At least personally, I could say that. I want to know the psychology of everybody else, not the noisy clan on Twitter that berates me and tells me I'm a horrible person for raising a teeny little bit of money for my donation address. And because I totally get that. I get both sides of that. People who put in their first $1,000 into HEX should not be sending an OG money for a donation at the bottom of the bear market. And so that really doesn't bother me at all. That people are harshly criticizing me. And, you know, you saw this week, Richard threw out a tweet like, hey, Matty Allen, I think you're amazing and hope people hit your donation address.
That's cool. I didn't see that. That's great.
And that just kind of shows some support, because I had actually taken down the tweets that were asking for money. And, you know, and then it like, you know, whenever you take something down these days, you have to like keep a copy of it so that it doesn't look like you're getting rid of evidence or something. Like, it's not that at all. It's more like just like a social thing. Like, yikes, you know, like everybody's being super mean to me because I asked for some help, you know. But I think it is like, you know, just even aside from that, and I kind of want to pick your guys' brains about like what I should do, because it's like, I mean, I feel like I want to give people something if they're giving something to me, you know.
I mean, this is totally off the top of my head. Buy one of those boxes, do a giveaway for that. Do a raffle for one of the boxes. Do something like that.
So the idea I have, just so like everybody, like,
I'll donate a box. How about that?
That would be very sweet of you. I own a bunch of cool domain names, so I was thinking maybe if people wanted some of my cool domain names and wanted to like donate or wanted to do like a sale of these domain names, then maybe that would be a good way to raise funds.
Maybe. I mean, personally, I think your donation thing is fine. And I mean, if people, you know, I mean, whatever. It's like Richard said, you could put up a post about how you love puppies and people are going to shit on it. And then especially like, you know, I mean, the environment's such that, you know, you're going to be a target. However, if anybody's ever gotten value from what you've brought to the community for years now, I mean, you can give him a super chat and then give 47% of it to YouTube. Or you can donate to his donation to help him fight the good fight. And the reason he's even under the microscope is because he has put himself out here like he has. And I mean, I feel like it, you know, there's no problem with that being a community effort to help with that. And it's like, you know, there's other people that I'm aware of in the community now that have been subpoenaed and that are well-known streamers, for those that don't know. So that'll come out in time, and it's, you know, for those that don't already know, and I would have no problem with them doing the same. It's like, I mean, I feel like it should be, you know, you've done wonderful things for the community, as have these other streamers, and it's like if they're under the gun, and people have to understand, especially working or not, like for me, it's like I'm retired, but that doesn't mean I have endless cash available to me. It's like I have a certain budget and I have a certain cash flow that you know, if all of a sudden I get hit with a $10,000 retainer I had to come up with, I'd be scrambling, you know, to do that. And, you know, so, I mean, I don't think there's any harm in putting that donation address up. I mean, Richard endorsed it, obviously. And if people just look at it as like a value that they've gotten for free, and now they want to show their appreciation for you in a tough time, I mean, I think that is the ethos of HEX, right? It's like, I mean, I'm going to donate. I mean, I already said I'd give you a box. You can do a raffle for that maybe, and then that would be a cool thing that I'll absolutely be out there promoting with you, you know, to have people get a chance at a box, right? It's the 555 box. I can't afford the $5,000 box. But we'll do the 555 box, and then, hey, if we do a raffle with the highest of stakes, that box you win could be the box that wins tickets to the premiere. So it's like, that would be fun and kind of gamify it a little bit maybe. You know, the domains, I don't know, maybe. I think you've already given so much. It's like, I don't know that you need to sell shit to finance this, but that depends on your own personal financial situation, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I too support the fact that you asked for some assistance there, Maddie. Like, it's just silly to me, because all you did was provide an address and say, hey, if you want to contribute, feel free, but you weren't putting a gun to anyone's head. Nobody's forced to. It's like, how can you be offended by that? And it's earmarked for a specific cause that would resonate with a lot of people. So I think it's actually rather smart to do what you did. I missed any blowback that you got from that. That's what I get for missing. Stay offline for a couple of days. You miss a lot, apparently. But
well,
yeah, he caught some shit.
Yeah, but that kind of negativity is better to miss overall, I'd say. But yeah, that's that's cool.
If you face that, I'd like to remind you guys and everybody watching that it's only a very small percentage, in my educated estimation, of people that behave that way.
Well, it's the vocal minority, like always.
Yeah, it's a minority. If you think about it, it's a minority of hexicans. People don't realize this. It's less than a majority of hexicans that even appear on Twitter ever at all. Like, there's a lot of us out there that don't go online and even put ourselves out there. And of that, it's only a small percentage that are trolly and ugly and kind of get personal. So when you read that kind of stuff, either this case or the hundreds of other cases we see, remember that that's not the community. That's not us. That's not the majority.
Right. Well, that's where we get the toxic, label as well. It's like I even saw it when that the attorney popped up. He's like a music guy, and he's like a retired attorney in San Francisco that like did some work for the SEC way back, and he weighed in on it. And bam, like everybody just piled on him and me like, oh, it's fake. It's like, what are you saying? Blah, blah. And it's like, this guy's not even in fucking crypto, bro. It's like, why don't you like take 2 seconds to click through his links and see who he is and see if maybe he's literally trying to help? And he was, and he ended up being a good dude. And, and he was really genuinely trying to help the situation because he saw that someone tagged the SEC and he used to work for them. So it came up on his feed and he's like, okay, let me weigh in on this. And that happens so often. It's like I've given the story before where it's like I got Eric Crown to, make the famous, clip of, or he said it and I clipped it of like, oh my God, Hex is the best fucking chart in crypto. I'm sure you guys all saw that. Well, I super chatted him. I know him personally. He saw my comment. He flips over the chart and we got to see his reaction live. That got tons of traction. It was great. It got people talking about it. I was setting up a live stream with him and Richard, and boom, here come the Hexicans, right? And they start shitting on him, shitting on me for even supporting him. And, because he's a trader, blah, blah, blah. And that he had given some disclaimers to his, like he always does. Like he doesn't support anything. It's that he's looking at charts and patterns. It's it. It's what he does. It's like take 5 seconds and figure out what that guy's about. But instead, the angry mob comes in and starts saying a bunch of nonsense. And most of the time they're anonymous. And it's like it's like any community. It's like, the vocal minority typically give the broader community a bad look.
Right. And, I would, even you saying that, right? I would be happier if you said the trolls come in, because it's not the Hexicans I know.
Correct.
Self-professed.
Hexicans. So I got a chance to like find out how much like a specialty like SEC lawyer is going to cost, and it's like a lot of money. So people already sent like a good amount of money to. Actually, there was like one person, I think I know who it is, who sent like 10 ETH, and then the rest of the people, have really warmed to my heart that people are donating, less than $100, $100, $500. That's like, that's amazing, amazing, amazing. I really do want to get this address up to like 50K, which I know sounds like ridiculous. People are going to criticize me for that, blah, blah, blah. But that's why I am willing to like, part with some domain names that I think are like really, really cool. And, digital scarcity, right? That's
for example, Tobiwan.com.
Toby, I've got everybody's name. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, so I don't know if I should just like run through them or something while we're on the topic. Not to be too much of a shill and all that, but
well, if you certainly own property, you can sell it, right? Up and up. I just wonder, on this particular topic, I don't know, you probably did the research on it. Maybe it just makes sense to keep it very clean, simple, and easy, or at least get advice to whether or not you don't run into any other problems.
True.
And I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I'm peripherally aware that I probably can't run an online lottery, right? Because I'm not licensed to do that or whatever. But I mean, anyways, you could definitely tell us about the ones you have for sale.
If people just want to hit the address, that's cool. That's probably the simplest like version possible. And I know that I'm okay to have that. So that's Maddie.eth. You can type into Etherscan Maddie MATI.eth, and it'll show you the address that ends in CAF and starts in 0x9E9. And yeah, so I mean that's the that's the donation address there, Maddie.eth. There's only one, so don't believe if there's a scammer out there. I think Richard made another tweet after this one where he said for pretty much anybody to set up a donation address, but that could lead to a lot of scammers. So you really have to know the person, I would say, that you're donating to, and know that that's really their address, because you've seen them talk about it live and not just in like a DM. Right? So somebody could be recording my voice and like
pin the tweet. Pin the tweet with the pin the tweet. No, just like Richard when he announces the pulse chain stuff. It's like if it's not here or if it's not in my Telegram, whatever, then it's not legit. Like there's two places to find it. If you see it anywhere else, it isn't it. So I mean, like tweet it and pin the tweet, and then just make sure every time you're talking about it, it's like, hey, it's my pinned tweet. And then make sure like
my pinned tweet is like my credibility.
Oh, is it? Okay. Well, maybe I'll pin it, or we can all pin it. It's like you can do it, and we'll retweet it and pin it or something. You know what I mean? But it's like I think it's a good call. I mean, to me, it's like I reached out to like there's another streamer. I don't want to say anything because I don't think he said it in a stream, but it's like he hasn't said it publicly on Twitter or anything yet. But it's like I even reached out to him, and it's like, man, it's like I'm not in a position right this minute, but it's like I'll do what I can to help you. Let me know, right? And it's like, I think that we all should do that. If we know people that we've gotten value from that are like tried and true members of the community that are under this thing, if we have means to help out, then why shouldn't we, in whatever way we can. So, I can put the highest of stakes things on a credit card. So that's an easy one to donate. And then, so that was an easy one for me. Right now, I don't have a lot of liquid cash, but once I do, it's like, I'm going to donate. It's like, I absolutely want to support
I appreciate it.
You getting over this hump. Plus, it's precedent. Like if there's other people, that are going through the same thing, and like you've already kind of gone through it. Not only I'm sure that would you be happy to talk to, others in a similar situation if you can. I don't know the legal ramifications, but if if you're allowed to share like your experience with them, then that could save them a lot of time and effort and stress and money. So I mean, he's kind of like it's like the firstborn child. They have the roughest go of things, right? Maddie's the guy out there, suffering all the slings and arrows for whoever else ends up under this bullshit. So
thank you, Dolomite, for saying that you donated today. That I really appreciate it. It means a lot.
Dolomite's legit.
Awesome. Yeah. So
if we zoom out a second, reminder to everybody, like we have nothing to hide. We're all going to be fine. Like we know what HEX is. We know who Richard is. We know all the parameters of this finished product. We know we're not paid shills. We know the yield doesn't come from other people. Like just, you can remind yourself that we're all going to be fine. It's quite unpleasant for the people facing these issues directly, like Maddie and some others. But even there, remember, we don't know what's in these requests that they're getting, the subpoenas. And it's frustrating to me to see so many people quickly judge. They think they know what's going on. They think it's doom and gloom. They think we're in trouble. They think Maddie's in trouble. Maddie's heavily inconvenienced. I'm not trying to diminish it there, Maddie, but
they closed my bank accounts already.
Yep.
So I'm highly inconvenienced.
That's quite unpleasant.
Yeah. That's
quite unpleasant.
Yeah.
Yes.
Total horseshit.
Which is why I'm taking this so seriously. To be like, I want to get 50K in this donation address.
Yes.
Because this isn't playing around anymore. And I wish it was.
That's well put. I like the phrase "not playing around anymore." That, by analogy, like those of you who see my tweets, probably not that many. That's why I suggest like this isn't the normal world of fudsters anymore. There's some people trying to cause serious harm.
Yeah.
Or the best thing to do with them is block them and ghost them. I won't name them here, but.
And I can't ghost the SEC. I can't, so
no,
that's
you gotta
why I need help from people.
Yep. Yeah. You got to respond. Well, now just spitballing an idea here. Like if you raised more than you're going to need, because that's a question I think anyone would have. If you raise more than you're going to need for the legal defense of this thing, then what would your plans be for that?
I'm not going to answer that question. That's not relevant at all. There should be no expectations from me. I'm not supporting anybody else who's getting investigated or anything. Like, it's just like,
cool.
Everybody can see the balance.
There you go.
Matty.eth. Like,
well, I just wanted you to clear it up because I figured that's going to be a question.
Thank you.
Well, wait a minute,
Thank you.
So then that way everyone knows, no expectations. It's a gift. It's like if you're doing this, it's
donation.
a gift. It's a donation. Period.
So, and then, people were even telling me like not to bring it up anymore on Twitter, like blah, blah. And it's like people I respect and like care about in the community. So it's really frustrating. And so I will do whatever it takes. I'll sell my domains or keep begging and just see what I can do. So.
Well, and if your cash flow is wrecked because they closed your bank accounts, it's like, what the fuck else are you supposed to do? You know what I mean? It's like not everybody has a shoebox under their bed, with money to a rainy day bullshit legal defense fund, So it's a bad situation that you're going to have to weather. And if you can get some support from the community that you've supported so long, that seems like a no-brainer to me.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, it's just way unfortunate that they shut that stuff down like before the investigation even completes.
Correct.
Sign of the times.
Correct.
It's
yeah.
Guilty until proven innocent.
Yeah.
But you will prevail because we know.
That's right.
Is there any recourse for you if you're, obviously when you're cleared of any suspicion of any wrongdoing, where you could get reimbursed from your legal expenses or just the inconvenience of having your bank shut down, whatever? It seems like there could almost be like a countersuit option.
Yeah, I'm not going to entertain any of that.
Hopefully it goes away at not great expense.
Yeah, I'm just going to do the right thing.
Yep.
As always.
And they're doing their job. If someone like alerted them or it just came across the radar any which way, they're doing their job. They're doing their due diligence. They're trying to protect the American people from, suspect behavior, just like the Kardashian thing. She promoted a crypto, got paid to do it, didn't disclose it, and then she got popped, and then she had to pay a fine. Yeah. Well, that's not the scenario here, but they wouldn't know that until they do these kinds of, they got to dig around. It sucks, but it is what it is.
This is the address that is Matty.eth that Bristology kindly put in the chat. Ben is asking about whether new YouTubers should put a disclaimer saying I am not being paid any money to post this content. I can't give you legal advice. I can say that YouTube has, I think, special instructions on how they want you to handle if you're being paid. And so if you don't mark your own content as paid, then I would assume you're not being paid. But the industry is not always that clear. So I think the more clarity we can provide to our users, the more transparency, the more the more education that we can do around these topics is great. We are broadcasters and educators. We have rights as part of the free speech, and especially the people who follow the rules on YouTube. The rules on YouTube are in a lot of ways, in some ways they're more strict than the law. In other ways, really, you have to know, you have to know what you're doing. I guess if you're running a business, but most of us are not running businesses. We're just speaking freely, right?
So does this mean that all the literally dozens and dozens of broadcasters, I won't name any, we know who they are, that are very blatantly paid shills, that they have disclosed it?
So we know with on Twitter, there's a character named Zach XBT or something.
Yeah.
And he is one of the best documenters. There's a handful of them that they really do a great job in the industry to call out and do basically high level exposés on what all the addresses are of this influencer. Didn't they get Lark Davis a month or two ago?
Yeah, they roasted him.
Yeah. I mean, they just, there was a thread that was like all of the evidence you would ever want to see. Many examples of him being caught selling minutes or hours after he promoted something for the first and only time, and it's disgusting. So isn't it curious how they're going after some people and not others, it seems, and maybe they already went after those people, who knows. But it seems like the space has a lot more scum to clean up than in the HEX community, that's for sure.
Right.
It's just another example of like HEXs are the only folks not doing the deed. It's kind of like all these other founders dumped on their community's heads. Richard's one of the only ones that didn't, and yet everyone says Richard's going to dump on your head. Hello.
Yep.
Now here we are. Everybody's a paid shill except our community, and our community's getting some crap about this. It just, I guess that's the way it goes when you're different and
true,
superior and
honest,
like we are.
Yeah, and honest. You know what I mean? Because it's like the thing is like if Lark or any of those other obvious people that have been literally paid to promote and then dumped on their heads of their followers were to come out publicly that they might be under suspicion or investigation, not only would it wreck their following, so it would just destroy their whole reputation. It's like it'd be game over for them. So they're not going to help anybody else by saying, hey, this is something now I'm being looked at because blah blah blah. Whereas obviously there's nothing to hide with any of the streamers that I know personally. And I can't imagine. I mean, Richard didn't pay for lunch when him and Hexo went out, for Christ's sake. It's like he is way too smart to like pay. And plus, it's like, why would you pay for something when you can get really, really good support for free? And it's like we are all invested in the idea of Hex, the truth engine. It's I haven't I've given away over 500,000 Hex to people. Friends and family and strangers. I gave some money to people on Twitter I didn't even freaking know. I just saw them complaining about something and I started chatting them up and I sent them some Hex, just so they could see without any risk of their own and try it out and see what they thought about it. Nobody's given me anything. I mean, the only thing that I've gotten, full disclosure, is my recommendations to go to Rocket Dollar, which is like the self-directed Roth thing, right?
Yeah.
If someone signs up with my link that has like Tobiwan in it somewhere, I think you can put in like a discount code. You get some, I think $50 off or something. I can't remember. But if I get 10 of you to do it, I get a $19 Amazon gift card. And then those don't get paid out to me until I get 10 of those. So at some point,
dude, you're on your way to $190.
I know, right? And then I've already said publicly, it's like, if that day comes and 100 people sign up for Rocket Dollar with my code and I get $190 worth of Amazon gift cards, I will do a giveaway and give them back to the community. So it's like, I mean, and I know Maddie's not gotten anything. I mean, he's gotten donations and stuff from people, but he's not been paid to do this. I mean, that's a whole entirely other kettle of fish, you know what I mean? So hopefully this will be something that you can give them the information they need. They can be satisfied with what you've given, and it can just be another hurdle that we as a community have had to clear.
Yep.
And the timing sucks. I feel bad for you, Maddie. It's like you're going through like recovery on a very serious injury.
Yeah.
Like to try to deal with that. And that's the thing that bothers me. If anybody even looks at it sideways on Twitter, fuck you. It's like this. I mean, we are human beings at the end of the day, and and we are face forward, as Funding Jim says it. We're forward facing. It's like you see our faces. We are not shy to come out here and talk about what we believe. And it's like you want to hide behind a little avatar and throw stones and just be negative and hateful. It's like what are you doing? Do something. Do something positive for the community or for the world at large. But if you want to live your life click-clacking away, being critical of other people that are actually putting in the work, go fuck yourself. Sorry. I always try to be the nice guy, but, sometimes you got to say it how it is.
Thanks. We have Nagabo in the house.
Naga. Oh, I saw him. I didn't know if I didn't see the camera pop up. And is his audio working?
Oh yeah, I'm here. Can y'all hear me?
Hey, Naga, what's up, bro?
Hey, what's up, man? Hope all is going well for you as far as your recovery, Maddie. I heard about that. I was like, damn.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's rough not being able to lift more than 1 pound with either arm because both my clavicles got broken. But hey, here I am. Like, you know, this being here helps me like have my mind be active, and luckily that wasn't damaged. So.
Well, yeah, I just thought I'd hop on here real quick. I ain't gonna be on here long. I just want to make this little statement. Now, you know, the HEX community put together what, $600,000 to get that NASCAR thing going. And I just think personally that we should have a donation address specifically for anyone who has received the notice from the Alphabet Gang.
Yeah, I think they need to be separate for each person for obvious reasons. But yeah, that's even Richard said what you're saying, that everybody should have their own, and that everyone
should have their own.
Yeah,
you think so?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so this is all
no commingling funds, no communication between people who are, you know, like
that right? You know, like, because I didn't know if any of this stuff was real, because everybody was blacking out everything, and I was trying to figure out why is all this blacked out stuff up? Maybe they or just somebody's putting this out there and blacking it out, and it's for somebody else.
Yeah, I think it's just privacy of like not wanting people to come to our homes, and it's good to be suspicious because phishing scams are more common in crypto than regulators who send through UPS.
Okay. Well, how does the Alphabet Gang know who everybody is and where they live to set up?
I think like for me, hosting the HEX conference was a dead giveaway because I have my name on a bunch of insurance documents from that.
I see.
So that was an easy one. I don't know about everybody else.
Does anybody know how many people have received these notices?
The number floating around in my head is like 7, but I just, you know, like have my ear to the ground in the community and can't really verify any like rumors or anything.
So this is just a thing where everybody's on their own. Wow.
I mean, we're all here like for each other emotionally, and you know, like we can't just like anything complicated, you know, we can learn from each other, but we just can't call it legal advice or financial advice or anything like that. It's just, you know, free speech. Okay. And don't say anything too stupid.
Well, I was reading some of that stuff in the notice, and a lot of it, I'm like, you can't provide this stuff to them. A lot of that stuff you can provide to them.
Yeah, it's between each person and their lawyer what how that goes, I think, usually.
Okay, and do you think this is gonna have an effect as far as post-chain and post-X is concerned, and the launching of mainnet? Will this prevent that from happening?
I mean, here's what I know. It's like people sacrificed for points, like Pulse Chain and Pulse X points.
Yeah, I mean, that's on the website.
Those points like are information that's on the internet. And whenever anybody wants to do an airdrop, and you may know that, you may know all this, but maybe some people are new in the audience. It's like whenever there's a set of users, that becomes like a really cool thing to be able to do airdrops. We saw like the guys over at Wait Token, the 0x Coast guys, like they have lots of banking relationships because they're making a stable coin. But what they did first was they launched a free claim basically for anybody who sacrificed for Pulse Chain or Pulse X or some other things. And then we saw another group come along and use that same sacrifice set. But all these projects are choosing different parameters. Like another, poor pleb came along, and that's Hexy Bastard is the guy who is the front man there, and he decided to give away his free tokens to everybody who sacrificed for Pulse Chain and Pulse Hex, and people who held less than $100 or $1,000 of liquid hex, plus like 1 million other users in DeFi. And so, so to get back to the question of like, when is Pulse Chain launching and all that, is like, well, like a lot of people are interested in like what airdrops they're going to get of the copied Ethereum state. And it seems like that's in the plans, but there's no real relationship between like what people sacrifice and the actual Pulse Chain project itself. Right?
Yeah.
And, so freedom of speech and freedom of movement, those are really cool things to sacrifice for and to get points for, and to get into an airdrop set that will live on forever. And, whenever people come along and they have a really cool project that they want to share with that set of users, you can imagine that they might do that. And that really simplifies and works within the law, to my understanding, as a non-lawyer, non-legal expert. Like, you should, nobody should be sending money to the sacrifice address now. Like, that's well over with. But yeah, I mean, that's my understanding, is like, people want Pulse Chain to launch because we want low fees. When we did our first meetup in Vegas, some of you were there. I got with Kareem and we drove a tank over a car, and the license plate that I put on it said high fees, because we want to crush high fees, because we want blockchain to be what it was always supposed to be, which is like a decentralized world computer that doesn't get mixed up with a store of value like Ethereum did. And it actually allows people to build really cool things, and test out this part of crypto that we haven't gotten to test out yet. And so that's why I'm excited about Pulse Chain being probably closer than ever now to launching. It's because I want low fees. Every time I'm in my Hedron, and I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I get a little impatient. Sometimes I press the button, more than once a week, and it's like, I would like to press that button for less than $1.50, please.
No doubt.
Yeah, well, personally, just one more thing before I go. Personally, with HEX being gate kept like it was, so I don't know how the Alphabet gang was able to find out about HEX. I personally think it was some jealous haters out there that went on a snitching campaign against HEX to them. This is what I personally believe at this point, because how else they going to find out about it?
Yeah, that's my thought too. But back to your question before, Naga, it's like I don't really see any connection with the ABC group and Pulse Chain, because we've already proven with HEX that it's failed the Howey test, so it's not a security, which made me kind of wonder if they even have jurisdiction to be investigating any of our streamers or fellow Hexicans, because how is that in their jurisdiction if we're not a security, right? Now, if it's, I don't know if they also cover just general promotion of any financial instrument, and maybe that's the law they're working under to have these investigations. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure
it's in the name, securities,
right? Yeah. So I mean, I'm sure the attorneys.
HEX isn't a security,
right?
What are you doing here?
Right. So I think
that one covered for 3 years. It's to the new folks that come into the community in recent months, they're suddenly all worried about the security issue, and it's like the rest of us are like,
yeah.
Like
it's not what's in the subpoenas.
It was discussed ad nauseum before it was even launched. Like,
yeah, and it's not what's in the subpoenas. I mean, it's like it's
right.
in relation to undisclosed promotion, paid promotion. So it's like, you know, I think it's just a matter of like, you know, everyone doing their due diligence and like satisfying the requests and trying to get out of it with at least, you know, with the least amount of financial damage and headache. You know, comply with the questions, you know, give them what they need to do. And if anything, it'll think about this. Like once that's proven that that's not happened, I mean, talk about a badge of honor. It's like we were looked at by the SEC and we were shown not to be paid promoters of this thing. And there is no leg to stand on for them to try to even go the next step, which would be to try to look at HEX as a security. When we get that seal of approval, say goodbye to page 3 of CoinMarketCap. It's like, fuck you. You know what I mean? It's like, there it is. Who else has got that, you know, nod of approval from the government?
Yeah. That's right. In the long run, which it's kind of the Hexagon ethos to think about the long run. In the long run, it's all going to be good. Like we want some kind of, not a rubber stamp, but an official outcome that proves about HEX what we've been saying all along. And that's eventually going to happen. It's just unfortunate that that involves a hammer coming down hard like this, but it's going to be okay. And Naga may be onto something, like he's thinking maybe some jealous haters. There's some very, very bad actors out there, not just people having fun on Twitter. Very bad people, bad actors. Well, and we care, so we kind of speculate, but in the end, that doesn't matter either. Who cares what started it? Here we are. Affected people got to go through the process.
Yeah, well, okay. I just want to throw my 2 cents in. I'm gonna get on back in this house. I'm a little hungry, so peace out, everybody.
Thanks,
Get well.
Thanks for coming on. He always adds something, I think.
Yes, he does.
He jumps on, as all of you do.
Good old Naga. He's good. He's something else.
But if it is some of these bad actors, they'll be dealt with later. But for now, it doesn't matter. Just saying.
Karma's a bitch.
Yes. That is some real stuff.
So if you're just joining us, hit the like and subscribe button. If you're rich, send crypto to Maddie.eth. Please. Donation address is open. And I appreciate everybody just with the support that people are giving, and you know, being able to talk about this topic in a way that it just seems fair and transparent. So
yeah, Maddie, you've given us therapy for your 3 years online, so we got your back. We'll support you while you go through this stuff.
Thank you so much.
A bargain. Any donation would be a bargain for the value that Maddie's provided.
I'll even accept T-Drone.
Well, that changes everything. All right.
Will you take Polly?
No.
I'll send you whatever's in my Celsius account.
Oh,
just kidding. Don't have one.
Yikes.
Don't have one. There you go. Correct answer.
Hey, Maddie,
that dude has his accounts frozen.
Right. Hey, Maddie, I just noticed on your all my links, you don't have the Maddie.eth. So you might want to add that for people that are looking there.
I'll add it right now as I add.
Chaos.
Pure
Johnny in the house.
Pure chaos.
The king.
How's it going, guys?
Hey.
What's up, Johnny?
Hey, Johnny.
You know what
really
is got me right now?
What is it, Johnny?
What?
There's a real scammer, a legitimate one, that was lobbying for Congress that's having orgies in the Bahamas on everybody else's millions of dollars of money.
Let's talk about it.
And nobody has done a damn thing to him.
Let's talk about it.
That's what really pisses me off. Second of all, these paperworks that everybody seems to be receiving appear to be inquiries. And we do have constitutional rights, one of which unlawful search and seizure, right? How much of that information is actually required to be given to them without a warrant? That would be the question that you would want to ask your attorneys, because they are not.
We're not giving legal advice
just look
here.
through shit, and they can ask any question they want, but how much of that information do you legally have to provide? Second of all, they're also inquiring about things that we couldn't possibly provide because they don't exist.
Correct.
They know what you tell them. That's what they know. And sometimes, you know, and look, none of us have anything to hide, okay? But sometimes giving too much information can be bad, because then they start looking into other things and trying to twist this and twist that. And really, there's no case here. It is a waste of taxpayers' dollars to be pursuing this right now, when there are actual criminals in the space that are sitting in their offices, for God's sakes, trying to pass regulations, and they're going to jack people for being fans of their team. Because we aren't influencers. We are fans of our team. Nobody paid us. Nobody pays the people to sit in the stands and wave their flag and cheer on their team and wear the colors and put on the makeup and cheer. But they don't understand that in crypto. You know why they don't understand that in crypto? Because most of crypto is just that corrupt. So of all things, why are they searching the one community that is really 100% behind the thing that they love, they use, you know? I sent out a thing to Elon today. I said, Elon, be careful, buddy. I know you don't have an advertisement budget, but you better warn the people that buy your cars and are users of your cars and likes your cars to stop talking about your cars, because they might get a letter from the SEC wanting to know why they were paid for it. How ridiculous is this?
Facts.
So I would suggest looking into a constitutional law lawyer, because this is very unconstitutional. It's digging deep into our inalienable rights, and it's not right. It's not right at all. I wish there was a way to figure out who reported these claims falsely, so that they could be prosecuted for wasting the taxpayers' dollar and the SEC's energy, where it could be applied other ways to actually help, like it's designed to do. Done. Yeah. Tangent over.
No, you're really onto something there. Like when 99% of this world, the crypto world that we're in, is full of scammers and pump and dumps and shillers, it would be an inevitable initial reaction for our product and our community that they would assume the same thing.
Where are the victims?
That's right.
What crime has been committed? Where are the victims? If I get paperwork, tell me what crime. You don't send me a deputy officer to serve me? Well, what am I supposed to do? Where's the crime? Right?
Johnny, did you hear they closed my bank accounts?
They closed your bank? How in the fuck can they close your bank accounts?
I would rather not say online, but it's secret. It's a bank secret act. I didn't say it.
I swear to God, man, this is.
So that's why I'm trying to like raise a good chunk of money, like for actually having a badass SEC lawyer. And I told people I'll sell my domain names that are like really cool and HEX, and like I just want more like emotional and mental peace really than anything at this point.
This is a witch burning, man.
I'm using Maddie.eth. I'm trying to raise 50K, and one person sent like 12 or 13, so that is huge, and people even sending a little bit like just really means the world. So that's where I'm at. Yeah, Kanye had his bank accounts closed for free speech. That's a thing. I mean, Crypto Dave is crushing the comments here. I bet SEC is sending out tons of letters to the actual scammers too. Yeah, I would hope so. Be nice to get the space cleaned up.
Well, right now we've got those people tapping on our heads. We've got Coach K that promoted everything there is to shill, you know, and they think it's funny. They think this shit is funny. Look, if they can persecute people for rooting for their favorite team, what do you think they're going to do to the people that actually accepted money and actually are promoting things that they know will go to zero? What do you think they're going to do to those people? You know,
Johnny.
go ahead, premature, have your celebration right now, but this is not cool.
Hey, I was trying to look it up because I'm aware of someone that's actually, they've got some leads on people that they think might have got this ball rolling, and they fully dox the person they know who at least one of them is that is suspected.
So
of,
we don't need
this.
to get into that on
No.
public stream now. But
Yeah,
for later.
No, but the term is oh shit, I lost it. It's like vexatious litigation or something, but basically it's like where they're making false claims. So
false claims.
Right. So someone's looking into like having them looked into to maybe kind of disarm these tips or whatever you want to call them.
And hopefully all the backlog of the particularly harmful false statements about us in general will one day have some chickens come home to roost, because there is such a thing as libel and slander.
Casey is asking, like, if they close your accounts, how are you going to pay the lawyer? I have credit cards. I opened an account at a new bank, and I hope that they don't close. And I will just pray every day that they don't close that one. And my assets were not frozen. They're just telling me I can't bank at the place I've banked for so long, and now I just have to live in fear, or whatever, until I get some closure on it. So it's all good. I have a high fear tolerance.
This is why, like Richard said, this is why we need crypto more than anything. This is why you need regulations to say, you know what? You can trade peer-to-peer. I can sell you my comic book. I can sell you my baseball card. I can sell you a T-shirt, but I'm not allowed to sell you my crypto. Why?
I can be your attorney and get paid.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so how are you supposed to have legal representation if you don't even have access to your funds? That sounds, kind of one-sided there, isn't it?
Yep. It is draconian.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's draconian for sure. It's what's wrong with the banking system. Exactly why crypto is needed.
Yeah, I'm just still kind of stunned by that particular piece of news, Maddie. I'm doing some self-censorship right now to not say what I really would want to say.
Yeah, me too.
Outrageous.
Yeah. So, but I mean, we could go in on Sam Bankman-Fried and like update people about what we think about that too.
Well, Maddie, there's your problem. You did not donate tens of millions of dollars to the political machine.
Otherwise, you too would be having orgies on beanbags in the Bahamas right now, counting your money.
Yeah.
That's so gross. I don't even want to imagine.
No.
Imagine. Think of the timeline. Donations. Oops, I'm bankrupt. So sorry.
Yeah, right.
Funny
so will they have to? Will the political parties that receive those donations be? Will they have to give any of that back if it's not already been used?
No. Why would they do that?
Dude, there's rumors. There's rumors that that FTX was being used to send crypto to the Ukraine.
Yes.
And then they were kicking back to democratic elections.
Wow.
Yep.
I would not.
That's the rumor. That's who knows. But like, there is a blockchain. So at some point, if there is a wrongdoing, somebody might be able to point to it.
Well, I heard another rumor that a bunch of the funds that were given to the Ukraine were actually invested by the Ukrainian government in FTX.
Okay, that's another. But then FTX used that money to donate to political campaigns.
Yes.
Oh, right. Okay,
allegedly.
Gotcha. So that's the first step of it then. Yeah.
So that's yeah.
Wow.
And what Maddie's calling a rumor here was on one of the mainstream cable news channels today. So it's already well beyond.
Wow.
Just conspiracy theory type
dude, if this guy doesn't end up in jail, I mean, that's pretty much a guarantee that this was all part of a greater plan.
Yes.
That this was to destabilize people's confidence and understanding of crypto in general. And then, curiously enough, I don't know if you saw the Snowden tweet earlier today about how now a bunch of the major banking institutions are coming out with a test version of CBDCs, like a 12-week test of CBDCs. So it's like, oh, interesting. So it's like, yeah, you can't, well, crypto, that's spooky, crazy stuff. But good old Uncle Sam's going to come through, and we're going to create one that's going to make all your lives so much better. So come on over here and see how easy this is. Yeah, I'm not a conspiracy theory guy, but dude, it just seems like things are lining up in a really weird way.
Yeah, they are.
That's going to happen. So all we can do is opt out. By the way, that's the way you.
Well,
that's the way you fight it, is just not participate.
Yeah, DeFi's the answer. That's it. I mean, it's like DeFi's the last bastion of freedom, for financial freedom in the world, is what it's starting to shape up like.
Look at this from the super chat. OnePlus, thank you so much for the $100 super chat. And I'm going to read out your comment here. I hereby donate this fiat trash to one of the best hexagons out there and solemnly swear that the SEC is out of control and bloated. Thank you for your donation, OnePlus. You rock.
That's awesome. Hey, Maddie, how much of a super chat goes to YouTube?
I think the creator gets 70% and the platform gets 30%.
Got it.
But if that's, if that's all, if that's what a person has, then that works.
Yeah, right. Well, I was just thinking, it's like, because I said, like, I've got credit cards, so it's like I could send you a super chat, but it's like I don't have any money to pay the donation.
I mean, like, once I learn more about what the best donation mechanisms are, I could also, if people are saying that they want to use credit cards, I could probably find another mechanism that would have a way lower fee. Like, I know Eventbrite is like less than 15%, which is still outrageous. So Eventbrite is, twice as good as YouTube, and then there might be something else I can find that's not it's sucking middleman D, as we say in the biz.
I know that look in Johnny's eyes. He's already figuring out who to throw into Lake Michigan later. But
I'm just curious, Maddie. The bank, did they automatically shut down your bank accounts, or did you give them a list of your bank accounts so they knew which ones to shut down?
I was traveling, and when I got home, I had a letter from the SEC, and I had a letter, like 3 letters from my bank.
Okay. Did your bank allow you to withdraw your funds, or did they just freeze your accounts?
Not frozen. Able to withdraw for a couple of weeks, basically.
Okay. Well, it's good to know this information, because if any of us find ourselves in this predicament, we need to know how to react to it.
Yeah.
Because
stay calm.
Literally they are there's really no grounds here, right? This is absurd and ludicrous. No crime has been committed. HEX has not been defined as a security. There are no victims. There's one guy that bought the top and filed a lawsuit claiming that HEX is a security, which could have spawned the inquiry. The bank that you were using may have panicked and said, oh, we don't want to touch this because this is scary to us, right? So it's kind of the chilling effect, right? So the idea of what this is supposed to cause is it's supposed to get us to all shut up. And it was probably and definitely invoked by haters because they are tired of hearing us brag. They are tired of getting their toes stepped on, okay? And this is the chilling effect, where this is an attempt to get us to shut up so they don't got to listen to us anymore, because they can't do anything else. I don't understand why a government agency would take this seriously when there are actually other serious things happening that should warrant their attention.
Well, it's not a case. It's it's just
It's an
fact
inquiry.
finding. It's an inquiry.
Yeah.
So I mean, so once they see that there's nothing there, then that'll be the end of it. I mean, if it was a case, and then you could kind of be like, what are they trumping up here? I mean, that seems a little crazy. And then, I mean, is there a chance?
It's very intrusive, though. It's very intrusive. For I mean, technically, yes, they can ask for anything, but what are they actually entitled to without a warrant?
Oh, well, my sister just went through an audit with the IRS, and I mean, she had to like open up her doors to everything. It was crazily invasive. And then the irony of it all, it's like, how often do you hear this happening? Once it was all said and done, she actually got a larger refund.
Yeah, but also the IRS is a different type of entity altogether, right? So that has to do with taxes. That's a different set of laws, different set of requirements. That's why I said you almost need certain constitutional laws because you are being unlawfully prosecuted.
Right. The thing that was weird to me with the IRS thing is like, okay, if it's a tax-based thing, then why aren't you just looking at all of my banking records and my taxable income and like my returns and those things? But it's like you got to come and go through my house. You got to go through other properties I own. You have to go through my barns. You have to like see all the equipment that I own. Yeah, it's like that seemed like what? It's like that seems a little like an overreach, but that was part of the game.
Wow, sure makes you glad to be a free American citizen, I'll tell you what.
Right. Tell me about it.
Mudhog was just saying in the chat, U.S. citizens used to have some freedoms, not anymore.
They're shrinking all the time.
You've heard of shrinkflation, now shrink freedom.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important that we're talking about it.
Yeah, the question is who would you countersuit? You can't really countersuit the government. You're gonna be held in lawyer fees for the next so it's kind of like the perfect crime, for the person that caused all this carnage, the person that wanted to bring it's like the ultimate troll, because they've got like whistleblower rights that protect them from prosecution because they're the whistleblowers, because they told them about, but see, now the SEC themselves, they could then pursue that person for, making them look bad. And I hope they do. I really hope they do. I hope they make an example out of people reporting false claims and wasting their time and the taxpayer dollars. I really hope they do.
Yep, vexatious litigation.
So can we rip Sam Bankman-Fried a new one now, or what?
Sorry, Maddie. This just hit close to home. I mean, I think I'm feeling what Johnny and the rest of them are feeling. It's like, it's like you came after one of our own. So it's like, it's a little hard for us to let go, but I get it. It's like, but the Sam Bankman-Fried thing. All right. Who in the world would want to see that porno? Not me.
Oh God, no. Oh God. It is girl. Oh God.
Like just a total wiener downer. It's like, that's just the opposite of Viagra right there. I mean, that is terrifying to just imagine even. That is just so gross on so many levels. I mean, not any disparagement against the girl in particular, just both of them. God, can you imagine? I mean, that is just some ugly. I mean, I'm sure there's somebody with a kink out there for like ugly nerd sex, but it's like, ain't me, bro. Not my bag.
Probably go straight to the gutter that quickly.
Well, hey, we had to switch it up.
Hashtag wiener downer.
The wiener downer, right? No doubt. Wiener downer. Nobody wants that for sure, right?
So FTX is an exchange, and they operated a branch in the U.S. and out of the U.S., and they became one of the biggest crypto exchanges. They bought Super Bowl ads and made deals with everybody, and before you knew it, they were borrowing money from other crypto hedge funds without any inquiry into their own books, without anybody realizing that they could have been insolvent for over a year. There are Twitter spaces happening with lots of even like mainstream politicians dropping in that are covering like the breaking news of the FTX collapse, $8 billion or more dollars, vaporized because people didn't hold their own keys. Because even the exchanges, I think, was it Johnny or somebody who said on Twitter today that you think not your keys, not your crypto. Well, it's not just you have to worry about. It's the people you give your crypto to, whether they hold on to their keys and hold on to their crypto, or whether they've loaned it out in some scheme to get to get the type of interest or APY that is the old way that needs to be replaced. The way where you actually have to give up,
Yeah. So like the thing is, people are used to banks. So when they come into crypto, they think they own crypto because they got it on an exchange because they're used to the banking type system. So they're used to self-custody. They don't understand that crypto is self-custody, and purchasing crypto on an exchange does not make you in crypto. That makes you, have an IOU for crypto that you don't hold. So you aren't actually in crypto if you hold it on an exchange. You just basically have an IOU, which that person may or may not choose to pay you back according to their terms of service, which are generally written as though any of them are generally written as though if you leave your money here, you get an IOU. And that's what you get. We can do anything we want with that money. We can move it, we can trade it, we can shift it. It's actually held in their wallet, not your wallet. It's held in their wallet, and that allows them to freeze access to it because it was never in your wallet to move to begin with. When you make a submission to move it, you are actually making a request to have it moved from their wallet to your external wallet. But during that period of time, what you are looking at is a unit of account. You're looking at your IOU. You do not actually have control of those funds until they leave the exchange. And people don't understand that because they don't understand self-sovereignty. What they understand is they understand the banking system, and they've already been trained that you have to give your money up to somebody else so they can do magic tricks and make you yield, because you can't do that on your own. They have to do some kind of magic, some kind of sorcery to do that. And that sorcery is borrowing, lending, and taking money from other people and dropping it in your account, which is by definition a Ponzi. So if you're being paid interest or referrals through a exchange, you are actually participating in a Ponzi. Sorry, those are the Ponzi's. Crypto is about self-custody. Crypto is your comic books in your box, in your house, and nobody should be rifling through your comic books.
Yeah, and most of Johnny was going through that description, and he could have been talking about regular banks or crypto exchanges because they update. A lot of people are still, I don't know how many people are still shocked to discover that when you deposit your money into a bank account, it's not your money.
Nope. It's their liability, but it's not your money.
Right. And if you withdraw money, it's the same thing. You're asking permission to take some of their money back. And as long as not everybody does that at once, they'll usually say yes. Same with these exchanges, and all of them, like Coinbase is a registered United States bank. It's a bank, regular bank. They can do the same thing with your crypto as Bank of America can do with your dollars.
And they shut you off. And right now, I've heard reports of people getting shut off.
Yep. Yeah, not your keys, not your crypto, get your money out of the exchanges. That's why. It's not just some arbitrary, we think what we're doing is cooler. It's because it's literally not yours.
Right.
Yep.
And then the CBDCs just take it to the next level.
Yeah, then they can regulate on what you're allowed to spend your money on because it's programmable money. And they can say, hey, You bought too much beer this week. No more beer for you.
I don't like
no tobacco. Your vice limit has been met.
Yeah.
Oh, did you want to go buy dinner? Well, our reports say that you're overweight. You need to cut back on that. We're going to deny you.
You can only shop at vegan food trucks.
You can only buy vegetables on your card now.
No more buying Red Bull because Richard Hart talked about it.
Yep,
no more buying Red Bull. That's the next thing that they'll say,
right?
Because it's like
energy drinks.
Nobody knows who owns Red Bull, So it's like, mysterious.
And it's, I mean, in a more serious light, it's like it's so ripe for mismanagement, because it's like they could literally have a glitch. You're trying to check out at a particular store that they don't like, or they don't want you shopping at, or an online purchase of something that they don't really, approve of. And it's like, oh, card declined, and then you look into it, and then it's just a hassle. And it's like, oh, card's back on now. But just little things like that could take away a lot of economic energy from the things they don't want economic energy going to. So
you've exceeded your quota of gasoline this month. How far down the rabbit hole should we go?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Tobiwan Hexobi, for the $499 super chat. You rock. My donation for here, I'll let you read it.
Yeah, this is my donation for fighting this nuisance. Also, I've locked in a highest of stakes box set for you to give away if you'd like. #freedom integrity.
Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. It's a huge show of support. Thank you.
No worries, bro. Well, and this is a money where your mouth is thing, because it's like, I can say it on here all day long, but it's like this way, it's in writing, so you can hold me to it when the highest of stakes box set comes to me, that I forward that to you to do with as you please. And then it is in super chat. Thank you, YouTube, for your service, and you get $150 of that apparently.
Thanks to YouTube for not pulling the plug on us.
Yeah, right. Keep Maddie in the algorithm. Bump him up there. He's generating some income for you.
As long as they get paid, they're on your side.
Yeah, right. No doubt.
I mean, this. Good God. So, the big trouble. We've got people that do hate speech that are protected under the law, right? We're just cheering for our team. Oh my God! Look, hey, it's 1,000 Mexican pesos, I believe.
That's what's up. Hey, thank you, Jose
great.
Cuervo, supporting freedom, integrity, and standing at your 6. Hey, thanks. I really appreciate it. You rock.
That's awesome.
But I mean, really, guys, how far, what do we have freedom of speech? Are we allowed to talk about things that we like? I mean, really, this is where we're at. We're going to be prosecuted because we're talking about things that we like, things that have done no harm to no one. Wow. Hate speech protected by law. You can say the wrong thing and people will sue you. But you got free speech. Right? I mean, I don't get it.
Yeah, it's wild, and it's like, and plus it's so sad and obvious to me, being a man of 50-something years old, and you guys have obviously seen it too, I'm sure. Is that I remember, back in the day, it's like I was in the AIDS Memorial Quilt March in 1996, I believe, and Westboro Baptist Church was there. And they were holding up signs with absolutely disgusting things. However, that crowd that marched by them were all, there were some that were flipping the bird. I felt like jumping over there and beating them with one of their signs. My brother kind of squeezed my hand a little bit, and I deferred to him and using better judgment. And then, and then the more I thought about it, it's like he was right. And it's like those people have the right to those opinions. And as gross and as much as I disagree with what it was that they were saying, they have a right to it. That's what freedom's about. You can turn the channel. You can look the other way. It can inspire you to fight it in different ways, to fight those messages. But, with the way that media and just the wussification of our society, for lack of a better term, has made, the woke left, if you will, kind of parrot these ideas that free speech is bad. And that if you say something that I don't agree with, then you should not have a right to do that. And I think that's where Elon Musk made a really bold move to buy Twitter and try to open back up that digital town square. Because, how many people were silenced?
Look at what's going on right now. We've got all these vandals running around throwing stuff too for their, gluing themselves to things and doing all this crazy stuff, and actually doing harm and property damage, right? Regardless of what the cause is or whether you believe in it or not, there's actual property damage occurring here, and in some cases, priceless paintings. And
there was a protective cover over the painting.
I don't care. That could have been potential damage to a priceless painting, regardless.
And yet
if you'd be lucky if you didn't damage it, because if you damage it, guess what? If you damage something that your insurance doesn't cover, you aren't coming out of jail ever, right? So you can't just run around and damage other people's properties,
right?
Especially
What's so frustrating is that some unfortunately large percentage of the country thinks this is all okay. I don't have a number. There's no way to predict, but it's not surprising if you know history. It's not surprising that there's individuals and entities that would crack down on freedom and free speech in this manner. But what is new and shocking is that a growing percentage of Americans think it's okay. That's what's new here. Like tyranny is not new, censorship's not new, cracking down on people is not new, theft is not new. What's new, at least in the United States, is that a lot of people think that's okay.
That's a hot take. Thank you to Crazy Legs Who for the $100 super chat. Thank you so much. You rock.
That's awesome.
I really appreciate it. I love seeing names that I haven't seen in quite some time, and I love the support. So thank you. Yeah, I think people are kind of in echo chambers. I wonder if Elon Musk will change that at all without upsetting people. Like the whole getting, I guess you can get a check mark now for like $20 a month or something. I was already subscribed to Twitter Blue, so the app like bugged out when I tried to do it. So I am.
You really want a check mark at this
not
point?
Allowed. Yeah. I don't know. I
don't want to check
without it. I stand out more without it, actually. But yeah, Johnny, I've always wanted one, and I still want one.
But you get what I'm saying.
Well, you can filter what your feed is now to only see people with check marks.
Right, but you get what I'm saying is.
Yeah, totally. Right.
The more attention you have, the reason we're being targeted is very simple. We made money. They know it. Right? Plain and simple. What is going on that's different here while the rest of the crypto space seems to be suffering? Well, we didn't give our keys up to somebody else and trust them with it. That's what the difference is here.
We're the only ones who kept custody, huh?
We're the ones that kept custody of our own coins. That's what really makes a difference here. So instead, maybe you guys, maybe people should be looking at it like, what did they do right? Not what we did wrong. Because last I checked, still no victims. Is the price down? Yes. So is everything else in the world. Right? It's like.
But Johnny, I'm a victim. I was emotionally scarred by watching Richard Hart twerk. Like the victim.
I enjoyed it.
Why is this man happy and twerking?
It was my safe space.
Yeah. This is fascinating. So there is much reason to believe that the reason why Sam Bankman-Fried was doing a cryptic one letter at a time tweet is that there's good evidence that he was circumventing bots that detect when you delete a tweet. So he was putting out one letter and then deleting an old tweet and then putting out a letter and deleting an old tweet. And people went and tested and proved that actually throws off those bots.
No
but
way.
There are other people who have archived all of his tweets. And so I saw an account of only the last 18 that he deleted using that method to highlight them, to highlight the ones, and they were all
a brand new tweet can obfuscate the deletion of older tweets. That's pretty wild.
Only for these bots that are auto checking these big accounts, to where if you do it at just the right time, then because they're looking at the total count going down as their indicator of go find what's missing. How everybody was curious as to the mystery, and then people were thinking it was just, some silly marketing thing, or people were not suspecting how bad this guy is still.
Yeah, he's pretty.
He's sitting at Congress, writing out regulations. Man, he's their buddy.
Yep,
he knows what's best for the space. That guy, the guy that just took everybody's money, he knows what's best for the space. I heard they're still trying to push forward with the same agenda.
Yep, it's another type of security theater. It's like you've got the Congress all sitting there listening to this obvious evildoer now trying to do things that are going to help us all be better. And, people bought it hook, line, and sinker. Like he was this altruistic guy that wanted to make all this money to give it away and all the other bullshit. And then now we see the truth of it. Was it designed to unravel? Maybe not, but I think it might have very well been designed to, get people more comfortable with the idea of CBDCs.
I know there were people that were, running for president that destroyed evidence with a hammer, and they didn't provide anything, but yet there was no information to hold them accountable, so they're just fine. How interesting is that? But Maddie, give up all your shit, dude. Tell them everything you got. Give it up to them freely. Do the right thing. Be a good citizen. Give up all that free information. Because,
and where they fuck you on stuff like that is that they know that your resources are limited. It's like, that's why, big boys can always push around other people in the legal system, because it's like, they'll just bleed you to death.
Yeah.
They'll just request more information. They'll just rack up your legal bill until you can't fight anymore.
Or they have enough information that they can finally put some pieces to the puzzle together in a twisted way that makes it fit their narrative.
Right.
What happened to the Fifth Amendment? You can't say anything that can and will incriminate you. Where's the evidence? What happened to innocent until proven guilty? Present me with the evidence that I've done a crime first. Because, where's your evidence? What, I'm supposed to give you evidence? I'm supposed to give you a reason to lock me up? That doesn't make sense. Hey, look, a police officer says, hey, where's the knife? You're like, what knife? Right? You don't say, oh, here. Oh, by the way, the guilty people get away with shit because they won't admit it. The good people get prosecuted because they are more than willing to give away information that gets twisted. That's the really screwy part.
It would be wonderful.
Yes, Dylan. Hire a good attorney, but see, that's the problem is sometimes hiring attorney, you end up with attorneys that just want to suck you dry too. That's part of the problem. So, you have to get the right attorney. You have to get somebody that wants to stand up for you, that's not trying to bleed you dry. They force you into a situation where, again, you can get scammed because you get the wrong representation. It's worse to have the wrong representation than having none.
Thank you, Casey, for the $100 super chat. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily talking to, but I am talking to a lawyer who I really trust. That's what I'll say. Want to do what's right. I thought that Elon Musk calling out Sam Bankman-Fried here was kind of a funny way to put it.
And the worst thing is, this shit could go on for years, guys.
Yeah.
Years.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, how is this going to affect HEX? Dude, this can go on for years. They can go on for years and not find anything and still keep looking until they're tired of looking, right? So, but it could take years before it's settled or we get a statement. There's not going to be, you speculators out there think, oh, well, that's great because they'll find that there's nothing wrong with HEX and then everything will be all better. It's not going to be an instant thing. Nothing
Very
worth
true.
doing is that easy. It is a fight.
I think what's more likely as far as this is like, I don't know that you're going to get like a seal of approval. Like, okay, you're good. Thanks so much. It's like they just stop.
Yeah, it'll just die on the vine.
It'll just stop. It's like they you give them what you give them. They don't say yay or nay, and they just keep you nervous forever. It's like that's with Trayvon and how he's got that FBI agent that can give him a call anytime.
Yep.
To just poke around some more.
They like to dangle it over your head just to make
And there's another example. Trayvon's out and about, isn't he?
Sure is.
Probably one of the most notorious scams in history, BitConnect. He's still out and about, isn't he? He promoted for that. He did take payments for that. He had referrals, all that stuff. Okay. He was a paid promoter of that thing. He's still out and about. So as far as being, really concerned about it, it's just going to be a really shitty inconvenience for a lot of us that is absolutely unnecessary. But we're within the law structures that we're in, and we have to find proper legal representation in order to protect our own rights.
Somebody sent 0.1 ETH and 0.11 ETH. Well, so two people did while we've been talking here. So I really appreciate that, as well as I'm calling out the super chats. I want to call out the people who are helping me get to my 50K goal. We're up to almost 15,000 now.
That's fantastic.
Maddie.eth. Much appreciated.
It would be amazing if the new Congress in 2023 really got off their duff and did some deep investigation into this stuff, like FTX and all the connections, but I won't hold my breath.
Yeah.
In the last couple of decades, I've gotten very frustrated expecting the bad actors to get what's coming to them, but you never know.
No, what they're going to do is they're going to pick the low-hanging fruit, right? We're very controversial. They believe that we're a smaller community than we are, okay? And they believe that just like the influencers, they're all running around screaming scam, 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 that HEX is an easy target. Surprise, guess what? HEX is probably one of the only things going on that is fully transparent, fully traceable on the blockchain, honest about everything. Even from right on the front page of hex.com, it says that cryptos can go down 80-90%. It's not.
Does it still say that?
It says it right on the HEX website.
The new one?
Nobody has misrepresented anything. And if you go to the website, it has always been there. Always been there from day one.
I couldn't find it last time I looked.
Yeah, it's there. It has always been there. And and that's one of the things, right? We're open and honest about this stuff. And for that honesty, we have been punished. And I warned you guys about that a while back, when we were having a debate over whether or not an audit of the OA was a good idea. And I said, no, it's not, because anything you produce can and will be used against you, period. That's how it is. Whether you like it or not. Oh, it's good. Oh, good. We know. We feel this way about it. But guess what? We presented evidence that is being utilized and twisted in a different framework to be utilized against us, even though we're doing it for the sake of transparency. Others are not so transparent. So they point the finger at us and say, those guys are doing that. Don't look at what we're doing over here behind the curtain.
Projection, big time.
Yeah, that's exactly. And we can say that we're blue in the face, that we're honest and they're not. But guess what? Because they're not honest, nobody knows. They're not sharing that information.
I like OA transparency, and I like that we all have different opinions on it.
Yes, but I'm still telling you, that is the exact kind of shit that will be used against you.
It's only a matter of time before the truth comes out about how great HEX is and how great the OA is, and everything goes viral. And so it was only a matter of time, in my opinion, for it to come out. And
no, because
nobody
they
knows
really
what the
don't
right
have
time
any
is, and
information. The
nobody
best
knows
chain
who they're
analysis
coming after
people
until
are
now.
from our group. The best information is from our group. Anything about HEX comes from our group. Why? Because we know it. We know it and we share it. All its intimate details, we know it and we share it. And we are transparent about it, right?
Yeah, most
everybody else has their speculation, what they think HEX is, and there is no information. The really smart ones take our information and reframe it into their narrative, because it is information that they got directly from us that they are now framing in a negative light. That's how it's done. If we didn't provide them with that information, they'd still be, because it's a scam, because it's this, because it's a Ponzi, because it's a pyramid, because I don't know my vocabulary words.
Yeah. Well, here's one for you. I'm going to do a pop quiz for you guys, and I know that you all get this answer right. One thing that I saw floating around that literally was just like, what kind of idiot? I think I replied to it with I use this a lot when I just see some absolute ignorance out there, and I'll just give a one-word reply, and it'll be hashtag crypto dummy, because it's like, obviously these people don't know what the fuck they're talking about, but they were kind of putting some shade on the fact that there were all these daughter addresses from HEX, and why in the world would they ever separate all this out into hundreds of addresses? Even though none of the daughter addresses have sold any HEX either, why would that happen? It's got to be something nefarious. So what do you guys think that they would do? What's the number one thing that pops into your head that makes sense for it to be under multiple seed words?
Security.
So that it doesn't get, if one gets hacked, it doesn't take everything down.
Bingo, ding, 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 ding. We got a winner. Yeah, it's like, are you fucking joking me? Anybody that knows anything about crypto,
centralization at its finest.
How many wallets do you have? I've got like a dozen fucking Trezors. It's like I got shit spread all over high heaven, because it's like, it is for security, man. If one thing goes sideways for some reason, at least I got the rest of it spread out in other wallets. It's just like, what?
And not to mention, we don't know how many entities are actually in charge of said addresses, and certain people will be. You break stuff into cells to prevent risk. If one of those, if one custodian over a certain amount of addresses is compromised, you have it broken down in cells so it doesn't greatly impact everything, and that's exactly it. Yeah. But you'll never explain that. Now, what isn't good? The fact that 90% of all other coins, any successful coin, 90% or more, is actually held in the top 200 wallets. Actually, yeah.
Yep.
And some of them are big exchange wallets that own like 30-40% in just one wallet address. And it is much more vulnerable. That one address can be much more easily compromised than multiple addresses spread out. But they don't care, because it's about control, right? And people get that confused. Richard says it all the time, the difference between centralized control versus I don't know. You get what I'm saying. There's a difference between decentralization on the network and who owns what.
Right.
Yeah, centralized ownership. Yeah.
Every successful coin literally needs like 80 to 90% to be withheld, because that way that the market doesn't dump so hard on it. If you give all the coins out to all the people, we know how that works, right? Haven't we seen how that works, guys? I think we see what happens when we try the socialist approach to cryptos, and and it's going to continue to just do that, because that's what happens when you have a fair and even socialist distribution. Is you've got people that will literally dump on your head forever. Frequently asked
regarding the OA, like you guys remember in 2019, even before launch, and then over and over in 2020, Richard went over why we don't want to know about the OA. We don't want to know what entities, if any. And he said, even if I wanted to tell you, you should block yours and say no, la 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 la, because if you know, you might have an expectation of those entities.
Yep.
And he had the most rock solid, we're not a security design from the beginning.
No expectations.
And even though it says expectations solely from the work of others, solely, which is a very important word. Richard also likes to point this out, because you cannot just decide that you're going to pick and choose and remove letters from the law, right? So solely from the work of others. And you have even no expectation of work from others, is the way that was set up. You cannot expect what this entity may or may not do, period.
And mint your own coins.
Yeah. And really, it has nothing to do with the functionality of the code. That's the thing. The OA, I'll repeat this, the OA has absolutely nothing to do with your interaction with the code. You interact with the code, you produce a product. That product has a market value. You may choose to sell it at that market value, or you could restake it and earn more coins. It's a game that you are playing. It's a complete cartridge. There is no upgrades. There is no updates. There is no guy pulling switches telling you what you can get. There's no off switches to it. It's just literally a code that runs, and it's not going anywhere. It's immutable. It's there forever. So you can persecute people for utilizing that code. You can persecute people for talking about that code. You know what? Somebody says puppy in the yeah. Is it okay to talk about puppies? I like puppies.
Tobiwan had a puppy.
Is it all right to talk about puppies, or can we be prosecuted for that too because we're a fan of puppies? How silly have we gotten? You know.
But where did the puppies originate?
Where did the puppies come from?
Where did the puppies
You
go?
put two puppies together and they grow big, and then they have another puppy, and that's inflation, right?
That's inflation.
I don't trust puppies, man. They're too fucking cute. I don't trust puppies.
And I don't know that the origin address has ever sold a single coin, but I do know that Vitalik dumped more ETH on people's heads this past week. 3,000 ETH to be exact.
My favorite, okay. Charlie Lee, he told us he was doing it and dumped on our heads right at the fucking top.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said he was going to make privacy features, and then he dumped on our heads.
Yep. That's how I found
he sold it, and he did OTC, and he sold on market, both.
And this is the crypto space. This is what they know. So you can't expect people not to be skeptical when something new comes along, because every founder they have ever known has dumped. The odds are Richard would dump. But unfortunately, we actually have a founder that already has more money than he will ever need, and he doesn't need to sell a HEX ever, because he can't even spend the money that he has.
Exactly.
And that concept doesn't hit people, because everybody's still chasing $1, thinking that they got to make more, and then more zeros in their bank account are going to make them happy. In fact, a zero becomes just a zero after so many zeros.
Right. Well, it's like, I don't know if you guys ever saw the Dave Chappelle clip when he was on Letterman, and he was talking about how he had turned down the deal with Comedy Central, and it was like $50 million or whatever. And he had a couple $1 million in the bank at that point. And so Dave's asking him about it, and he goes, well, Dave, he's like, I thought about it, and it's like, what's the difference between $1 million and $50 million? He goes, I still go to the same restaurants, still have the same kind of steak that I would have been having. The difference is a staggering $49 million. So I mean, like there is a difference to a certain point, but then, once you get to a certain level, it's like you can buy all the big boy toys, you can do all the stuff, you can have access to all the things, and then it's like, what else is there? It's like, that's where, I think that we're really fortunate with a guy like Richard, who has shown his character, and that he's wanted to devote himself to making the world a better place, to making more millionaires that can go improve their lives and the lives of others.
He wants to win.
He wants the glory. He wants to do that so he can finally get some justification for how many people have shit on him since he turned his back on the Bitcoin community. And I mean, and they have been roasting him ever since. It's like, he was a huge advocate for Bitcoin. He was like a revered member of the Bitcoin development team, right? I mean, he wasn't a developer, but it's like, he was in those talks, right? Like early on when they were trying to pick the direction of Bitcoin, and then it didn't go the way he liked. He saw Ethereum getting better and better, and that's where he changed his allegiance. And talk about vicious maxis. I mean, they still are after him.
They never forgave him for that.
No.
That's been, people don't realize that's the source of all the hate right there.
Right.
When he parted ways from Bitcoin.
And it lit a fire under him. Lit a fire under him, you know, and here we are, you know. And people don't know the history. They don't take the time. It's like they just see, you know, the outrage marketing or whatever, and they get incensed about it, or they hear some stupid shit about the OA daughter addresses and they run with it. And they don't take any time to investigate any of it to see, you know, what it comes from and what you're really working with.
Right.
And they miss out.
What's so irritating about that, and why I have like no tolerance anymore for stupid questions and FUD, is that, okay, when HEX launched, we all could have been forgiven for being skeptical, to put it lightly, because we didn't know what this guy was going to do. We don't know what's true and what's not. But now we're 3 years into it. There's no excuse for not seeing the 3-year track record. OA hasn't sold squat. RH has explained it. So funny. Richard explains the meta. That's the phrase I use. While he's delivering you the outrage marketing, he explains why he's doing it. Who else does
That's another Richard call. The metaverse doesn't exist. There's another call that Richard made. And the metaverse will never exist.
Kanye does
and it's like three
years
of seeing exactly how the payouts work. 3 years of seeing no OA coins sold. 3 years of the opportunity to learn that Richard was rich before this coin existed. He's not dumping on our heads. It's like all these.
He already had the best speakers, the best TV, the best everything. He told you then.
Unlike us 3 years ago, all the information is freely available in, like, any question you ask is available in literally dozens of videos or documents. There's no excuse for laziness anymore.
It's so obvious and it's so simple, and it's like people make it so much more complicated than it needs to be. It's a code.
It's a code that makes coins. That's it.
That's it.
It's a code that makes coins. Those coins happen to have a market value. There's your whole explanation. Right. Yes, the code has a certain set of rules, and yes, it operates within those parameters. It had to be pre-designed to do certain functions because it isn't anybody doing anything for you. This is the most important part. Nobody is doing anything for you. It's a token. You put it in the machine, you play your game, you get more tokens out. That's it.
Yep. And then the other like little myopic blind spot, I think, in so many people is that, think about this. People will clunk you over the head for $20 in your pocket. Yep. There are billions of dollars at stake. Billions of dollars at stake. He has created something that is legitimately better than Bitcoin. So you tell me that there aren't paid people or people that just have giant bags that they're trying to defend that are doing everything they can to keep people from finding out about HEX, and that it is a better opportunity. So it's like if they have any little thing they can use against him, against us, you name it, they're going to, the SEC.
If a positive review can be purchased, a negative review can be purchased. That is common sense, guys.
Good point.
Your opinion is for sale, right? And ours isn't. And they don't like us for that because we cannot be bought. That's another problem. Right. We cannot be bought. They know we can't be bought.
Well, that's what they're trying to figure out.
Sharing our opinion of something that we have experienced and sharing that experience with other people because we know how much garbage there is in the crypto space. We know the garbage better than anybody else. That's why we're still standing when Luna, BlockFi, Celsius, Voyager all went under because we knew better. And nobody wanted to listen to us. Nobody wanted to listen to us because we're the bad guys. We're the villains.
Yep.
That's the interesting aspect of this. And I think people are catching on.
And it's like, I know I'm like, nauseatingly a silver lining guy, but it's like, I think in a weird way with the SEC stuff and whatever, this will be a good outcome because then it will prove all the people out there like, these people, are probably getting paid on the back end to be out here. I mean, who else would do this day in and day out, hour after hour for years? It's like, and then once that's proven to not be the fucking case, then yet again, we have like that seal of approval, and eventually we'll blow through enough roadblocks to where it's unstoppable and it's truly viable.
What more do we need, Toby? We've been up and running for 3 years and they're still calling it a scam. They still call Ethereum a scam.
Mass adoption. It's like once we get over this little bubble of a bubble that we're in, this little tiny microcosm of crypto that is the Hexagon community. Once it gets out to a broader community and more people do their due diligence and see it, then, I mean, look already, like when Richard was in Spaces the other night talking, you know, like the Richard that we know and love, that's showing his alpha and showing his insights on all these things. When he gets on like CNBC or Fox or wherever and has those discussions and not just a top call, you know, that got him on, you know, some time on air, it's going to blow wide open. And then there's going to be no denying it. And then all you're going to have is the same kind of people that say Bitcoin's a scam, you know, and then, but there's way more people that are, you know, in support of Bitcoin than not, or else we wouldn't be doing all-time highs, you know, every 4 years like we have with Bitcoin. And the same thing will happen. It's just, you know, it's that critical mass is my opinion. That's what I think.
Well, the problem is, we have presented evidence for 3 years that they're not going to change their narrative.
But it's a numbers game, Johnny. Because the thing is, it's like the people that we're trying to turn around aren't going to change their narrative. They're never going to change their narrative. But
our reach will eventually
side.
surpass their reach. That is the key, that our reach will eventually surpass their reach. People get tired of listening to people that are wrong all the damn time, you know. That's inevitably, right. And I mean, that's where we came from, right? We used to watch those YouTubers, and then we realized everything they were shilling, they were selling on our heads, right? We've already come to that conclusion. We've been there, done that. And
there are still minions out there who are intelligent enough to discern what we've discerned about this product and our founder, but they just haven't been exposed to the right information yet. So that, like, the fight never ends. I've seen them because I'm in a couple other communities where I'm in Telegram and someone literally says, well, crap, I had no idea this Richard guy's been right all along. Seriously, that's almost verbatim I'm reading. Not thousands.
Well, he has been. He has on everything, and it's ridiculous, right? So it's no crystal ball, and it's not like Richard has literally picked a space where people are lazy. They do a lot of copy and paste, rebranding, repackaging, remarketing, and they don't really do anything innovative. The most innovative things that we've had really in this space are like Uniswap and the DEXs. That is innovation. The automated market maker, eliminating the you know, and there's a lot of problem there too, guys. You know, centralized exchanges are not liking this whole DEX thing because that cuts them out. They have every ambition in the world to stop us from using DEXs because that cuts into their profit directly. You think Coinbase doesn't realize that how much of their lunch that Uniswap is eating? You think Coinbase doesn't realize that if they had listed HEX back in the day, they could have gotten a large percentage of those fees because HEX was literally 40% of Uniswap's volume for like 3 months?
Yep.
You know, how much money did they leave laying on the table? Well, if they're in the business model of inserting themselves between you and your money, you think they really want to encourage you using a DEX? No, absolutely not.
And every
That's
time
why you don't see anybody else. You don't see another community promoting Uniswap, do you? You might see some scam coins promoting Uniswap because that's the only way they can get listed, because the listing service has always been you have to pay your dues to the mafia to get listed on their website. And that's really what it comes down to. It's a damn crypto mafia. They are saying what gets listed, what gets shown, where you can put things, and you got to pay them millions of dollars to get your proper listing. Richard's crime was not dealing with the mafia and doing things, launching fair and free, and not trying to pay people.
He wouldn't pay the fee, and he killed it anyway. That's why they're so pissed.
Yep. He did not pay the trolls. He did not pay their fees. He would not give in. He did not yield. He did not bend to their will. And now this is why our community is the one that gets targeted. They don't want a decentralized world. They want a centralized world with them at the helm.
And every time we say centralized exchanges, we may as well just say the banking system because they're
You
all
might as well say the banking system. Yeah, it's meet the new boss, same as the old boss. It's absolutely no different. It's just a different set of people in control and a different set of people that want to put themselves at the top of the food chain. They want to be able to say what you can and can't do. Exchanges, like you said, shut off just like the banks. They can shut you down anytime you want. That's not crypto. Crypto's supposed to be immutable, unstoppable. It's very stoppable. If you're using centralized exchanges, it's very stoppable.
It's an unfashionable idea these days, but a way to take custody of your own funds that are in the bank is put a bunch of bills under your mattress. There's some self-custody for you.
Well, I guess, they tear up your house, flip over your bed, and seize all your money.
Yeah, they could do that for your seed phrases also, but.
Well, that'd be interesting.
Actually, look at the way it's going. Look what Maddie's experiencing, and look what.
I don't know what they are. I know where they are,
yeah.
But I don't know what they are in my head. So that would be interesting.
That would actually be. This is financial advice. Everybody should have a stash of cash somewhere accessible.
Not financial advice. Not on this channel.
Not on this channel. No financial advice.
You can say what you're doing.
People take things out of context. You're right, Maddie. My bad. It's not financial advice.
And correction from earlier, the warning about cryptos going up and down is not on the HEX homepage.
It's not anymore?
It is on the How It Works page.
Yep.
So
it's on the website. It's not on the front page anymore.
Yeah,
it's
there was a big refactoring.
But it was for some time right on the front page.
If we want to clamor about that, maybe we could get it back where it belongs. Clamor, clamor, clamor. Clamor, clamor.
Did he remove the HEX scam thing? Because that was the thing. Look, it says it's not a scam right on the website. Well, that's because everybody was freaking blasting us, and we figured we'd just go ahead and put it right up on the page that says, no, this is why it's not.
As we established with Celsius and FTX, anything that offers APY in crypto in general is going to look like a scam until you realize that you hold your own keys in HEX.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that the inflation in HEX comes just like it does in Bitcoin
from the code
to secure the network, to secure the price, and to offer an incentive that is quite brilliant.
Speaking of clamoring, if we're up to 92 likes on this, smash the like button.
Simon Dixon said something very interesting too.
Hit the like button and share this out on all your socials. We got 133 people watching. If you're enjoying the content and the cause for Maddie to get his donation legal fund up, share this out there on all your socials and support the cause.
Simon
Dixon, be right back after 2 seconds. Felt so official.
Damn.
Go on, Johnny.
Simon Dixon made an interesting point, and that was, if Bitcoin was meant to be cash, then why does it have a cap? He made that comment because there is a velocity of money. Now, mind you, Bitcoin's cap, nobody's going to see it. We'll all be dead. It's 120 years out. So it's kind of a moot point to begin with. But what there is there's a halvening of inflation every 4 years, okay? But it is inflationary for the next 120 years, and it's a cap that nobody will ever see. But Simon's point was that there is a velocity of money. You have to have inflation in a currency in order for it to function as a currency. You cannot make it a cap. Now, mind you, again, that 121 million cap really doesn't matter so much when something is divisible by 18 decimal points. So as long as there's some inflation and it can be split into multiple units like that, it's still an inflationary currency that can be split into multiple units. So people have this concept that a collectible is cash. And that's not the same thing at all. And Bitcoin is more of a collectible than cash. And velocity of money is necessary for a monetary system. And I just thought it was kind of interesting that he of all people was the one that pointed that out.
Simon Dixon.
Hi, ChrispyMan. You have said nothing since I've been here.
Well, I mentioned chaos. Maximum chaos.
I think your website's really cool.
Yeah, thanks, Johnny. No, I think all the things you're talking about are things that, being in the community for a long time, right? There's things I already know and agree with, So it's all truth.
Do you have some examples?
Sure, Maddie. Sure. But I mean, right down to, a couple of the different things. First off, a lot of the things that we do here in the newer people, or the people who do want to cause trouble, ask about, are all the things that were very clearly communicated to us as that the product was designed and launched. Right. And I think Hex Monkey actually had this point about the outrage marketing. I mean, how many times does it have to be explained, But it makes the world go round, that's for sure. It just continues on and on and on. The features of the website and how things were set up and how they utilize the best marketing possible to get people and draw people in, I mean, anyways, but those are the types of things that I think we hear a lot of negativity about. But we're very clear that they were engineered, not as bugs, as features.
Yep.
And you've got your own website, and you were inspired to make the website because you were interested in the design of HEX, and you wanted to represent, in a way, be able to show some of those features and those qualities that HEX has that no other coin has. And it's intriguing that you've got all that breakdown of all these different aspects, because there is innovation here. There are metrics that are not measurable in any other coin or technology that's out there. And go ahead.
No, I'm just nodding my head. Yeah, I'm with you, man. There's all sorts of stuff. I just, some of it's in the weeds, but the fact that and it always goes back, and another thing that the community did really well was to curate content originally into very succinct selling. The selling's not the best idea, but distinct ways to communicate, how the system is going to operate and how it operates. And we see those really as these copy pastas, right? I mean, you almost can't get any better than that. But just the idea that, you have a system that's so transparent, you can see what is going to happen. And so anyways, a lot of the data stuff that I'm working on is that, that I try to put together. Like we had some questions last week about exactly what is the ROI or the effect.
It fluctuates. There's no such thing.
Yeah.
It's all about how you play the game. What's your high score going to be? Well, your high score depends on how you play the game. So there's not really a distinct way of locking that, because you may choose to go to different levels. You may choose different adventures, different strategies. So that's one of those things that's absolutely completely impossible to do. Now, I don't want you to think, because I was talking about disclosure of the OA addresses and how that could have been twisted against us. I don't want you to take that out of context as the fact that you've done an excellent job displaying the metrics and the intricacy of HEX, because those are transparent data figures that people should look at to understand that there is more to it than a picture and an ERC20 token, to understand that there is 2,956 lines of code, and it's there for a reason. It's not a copy pasta ERC20 token that people think it is with a send and receive function. It actually has designed mathematical codes and predictive patterns to it. So you can at least look at it and make some predictions and your speculations on where you believe things will be within certain time frames based on the dynamics and the system as it's designed. So So just so you know, I don't think, I didn't even think about it until after the fact that I said that, where I was talking about some knowledge is not necessarily required. And most people don't care. I mean, honestly, when people go on to an exchange, you know what they buy? Look, guys, really what it comes down to, you got to understand the mind of the average person. They don't give a shit about all these intricacies of HEX. You know what they do? They go to the polls, and that first top of mind awareness name that comes in their head, they push the button. You know why? I'll tell you why. That is why politicians spend all that money planting signs in yards. Because when you get up to the polls and you're not really sure and you're not really educated, that name that sounds familiar in your head is going to make your judgment for you. That name sounds familiar. I'll pick that one. Yeah. And unfortunately, it works. It effectively actually works. And that's why they do it. Because most people don't get in deep into the intricacies. But for those that are, and they want to understand that things have changed and metrics have changed, well, we've got people building sites that let you go as deep down the rabbit hole as you would like to go.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I'm going to cut out of here because I like steal everybody's freaking airtime.
No, you're good, man. You're saying what we're all thinking.
Johnny, don't
we
go.
Wish we were thinking.
You're doing fine.
I feel like I'm always leaning on the mic, so it's like I feel good to like try to go toe to toe with you because you've got always such good information to share. And then, Hex Monkey's speaking up, Crispy's a slow burn. So, sometimes I feel like I just steamroll him. And then poor Maddie, he's recovering 2 broken bones. So if you go,
yeah, you're looking pretty damn good for that accident you had. You got healing factor going on there. You got some Wolverine parts now. They got some plates in there or what?
Rubbing some fish oil on it.
You straight up.
I did not have surgery. I'm trying to heal naturally, which is a little bit longer of a journey and a little bit more painstaking, but that seems like the way to go in this case.
No Wolverine parts. Shit, man.
I'm very, very grateful for everybody's support and for the universe for not killing me. Thank you, universe.
Amen.
I hope I do something good to earn this.
Dude, that car was that was bad. That was, you're very, very fortunate. All of you guys, very fortunate.
Agreed.
How's Art doing?
He's hanging in there. He's in a lot of pain, and he got surgery on his hip. And he's got more broken ribs than I do, so
speedy recovery
for his recovery for sure. Yeah, I think he watches the show. I think always. So shout out to Art and to his whole family.
Art.
Absolutely, man. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, to go back to the point of the copy pasta. I think that there have been a lot of imitators of HEX that didn't succeed, and to me, as having an academic background, it makes me curious. Like what is it about HEX that's so special, other than the code?
Other than the founder, what is it about the guy that doesn't need to sell at the top of the food chain? That's what the difference is.
It's the
everybody
founder.
else that copies HEX is doing it for the sake of profit. That's the problem.
They're putting themselves
at the top of the food chain. They're making themselves the OA, and they're trying to make a buck. Richard wants to win.
That's cool. But I don't think it's all just about Richard. I think it's that HEX has had so many ups and downs that all the people who wanted to sell when you're down 90% already had their turn, and now they don't get to sell anymore because they sold it all. And then there are people who want to sell the top, the local top, wherever they think it is, which is guesswork anyway. So you had people selling, at 0.0001. You had people selling at 2 Satoshis, right?
Oh, I know. I was selling at 2 Satoshis. I was buying at 1. I played that game. I played that game. I got played that game, and I got left behind. And that's why I told people don't freaking trade. Was I trying to double my bag? Yes, I was. Was I doing it? Yes. Was I selling on your head to do it? Yes. I was controlling one of the exchanges. simply by setting orders, and there not being a lot of liquidity. And what happened is eventually the price went up, and everything that was for sale at 2 Satoshis was sold, and there was 4 Satoshis. So guess what? I was no longer able to buy back at 1 Satoshi. That never came back to me.
Right.
I never came back. I could no longer buy at 1 Satoshi. If I could go back and do it again, you know what I would do? I would buy at 1 Satoshi all day long. Just buy at 1 Satoshi. Would I have sold at 4 Satoshis? No. Would I sold at 6 Satoshis? No. Why? Because it went up to 200 or 300 and some odd Satoshis. That's why. That was dumb. That was dumb. And we're at the same point now. Where are you going to sell at 4 cents when it goes up to 4 cents? Well, you go ahead with that. You go ahead and sell at 4 cents. Then when it goes up to 40 cents, your bitch ass is going to be crying too. Because it will. The odds of HEX not going back up over all-time highs is like ridiculous. We have had the massive amount of FUD, and HEX is just beep, FUD, dump it on its head. 83 million, dump on its head. Beep. What you got? You got something else? What you got? Oh, SEC FUD. Beep. Where are we at, Mel Tony? Where are we at right now, Mel Tony? Are we going down?
The 3 cent level is moving up ridiculously well.
We got a green candle on the 1 minute chart.
And what do we got? What do we got? FTX goes down. Luna goes down. Voyager goes down. Celsius goes down. Everything around us, every building burnt on fire, and we're like sitting with flame-proof retardant all the way around our building and water cannons. You know, it's like, look, yes, all right, it sucks. If you bought the top, it sucks. Well, guess what? Richard bought the $30 top of Bitcoin, wrote it all the way down to $1. You know what? Same thing, guys. Same exact thing. Was he wrong to buy at $30? Hell no. You're in the same exact situation. Why is someone saying rug Johnny? Beached whale.
Hey, I just dropped it in the private chat and in the comments, but it's actually one of the highest viewed videos that I've ever been a part of, and it was actually a clip that Balliet Brand took of me talking way back in the day on the Pulse voice chat, and it was right in line with what Johnny was saying about our founder and how most founders out there are, in one point or another, going to dump on your head, and it's basically outlining the reasons that Richard would not. It's only about a 9-minute video, but it's like if anybody's curious to watch that or share it out, it's I feel pretty proud of my little rant.
Yeah, I remember
and
that one.
Yep.
Gold.
Yep.
If you want to succeed, you have to be able to do what others are not. If you want to succeed,
some of my ETH is down 70% since when I bought it. There.
What the fuck?
I doxed my ETH bag. Am I suing someone? No. It's just stupid.
Yeah, and I mean we don't know what the price of HEX is going to do in the future because it's up to the people who bought it.
Yeah.
So that's normal. That's how a free market works. It's not illegal to talk about things that we like, and it's curious to me. It's really curious to me how HEX is outperforming all of the copies of it. It's outperforming the historical performance of Ethereum and Bitcoin from time to time. It's crushing those charts, and it's doing something that we have never seen before in crypto. And it's curious to me because when you start to copy things, when you start to copy the code, and then still that doesn't work, but HEX keeps working. HEX keeps paying trustless.
The copies are hilarious because you're putting it mildly, Maddie, to say we outperform them. They're all
please.
Because they try to take pieces out of the engine too, right? Yeah. So if you take out a spark plug, your car's not going to fire right? Yeah. So everybody that copies anything has to make their own changes, and HEX is the perfect formula. And they're going to make their changes. If you've ever worked in research and development and you ask a client, well, what would you change? They're going to change something, right? Yeah. You give them the power and the authority to change something, they're going to change it. Even if it's something as light as, okay, well, maybe the color could be a little bit darker. But these changes have significant impact, especially when you're messing with something that is precision as hex. You try to change one little thing, guess what? Doesn't work. You change the recipe.
Yes,
it's no longer going to function in such a way, And then we've seen things.
I'm learning this.
Literally,
I'm learning this with developing Time Pays Me and trying to have the right incentives and, definitely operating within the law and doing all these things. I mean, it's like if you change one thing in game theory, it changes everything.
Yeah, it's like
the probability of success is very rare. The probability of hex being built the way that it is, in such a way that it's self-governing and it has the self-balancing system and everything in its intricacy and design is so rare, right? Bitcoin solved the Byzantine problem or whatever the
Byzantine generals.
Yeah, I can't pronounce it. So
dilemma.
Yeah. So basically that kept the spend back, so that you can't copy and still
no double
have
spend
copies. So that's what it did. But Hex has done something better in a way that, well, it's all necessary, right? It's stepping stones. You have to have the wheel to get the car, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to have the Model T before you get the Lamborghini. It's all stepping stones in advancement of technologies. And where Hex is it allowed you once again to eliminate the problem of only certain entities can afford the barrier to entry in order to produce yield. That's what it comes down to. It made it open to the average person to have self-sovereignty and produce their own yield because they have access to the code that allows them to do that without this barrier of entry, this astronomical barrier of entry to be competitive for that future supply. So that's really what it's done. And like I said, the copycats, they will either change something because they think it's an improvement, or they will put themselves ahead of the food chain. They will mismanage it properly because they will take advantage of maybe some of the options in the code that they designed for themselves. They'll put in amend keys. They'll do things that change the recipe of what makes Hex Hex. And now, saying that, are there other innovations that may occur later down the road that may also be innovative? Absolutely. Have they come out yet? Not so much.
The code's in production.
It's so hard. It's so hard to get things right. And that's why the crypto space copies and pastes and uses things that have already worked and rebrands and relabels them because they are afraid to innovate. And they don't need to, because a copy and paste will do. They don't need to. They don't need to make the changes. They're not motivated for innovation. They're motivated by the dollar. And if you could do a half-assed job and still get paid, where's your motivation to try to develop or well, you have to have somebody that wants to win, that wants to make the best product. Mike Tyson was champion. Why? Because he wanted it more than anybody else. He lived, slept, and breathed that championship. That's why. Anybody that's ever good, really good, even the best in what they do, they have the desire, they have the need, they have the want to be better than anybody in that particular field. And fortunately enough, Richard's chosen a field where there's a bunch of lazy bastards sitting on a bench that don't want to get off their ass to do a goddamn thing except sit there and collect their paycheck.
One, he's compulsively driven to be the best.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the guy is absolutely certifiable as far as there is no second best for him. There is no phoning it in. And it's like, as much as we all complained about 4 more weeks, the first time we heard it with Hex, not Pulse, but the first time we heard it, code is hard. I mean, it's like everybody should know that by now. I mean, just in our own community, it's like, look at ICOSA recently, look at Poly recently. It's like, those guys are very well respected in the community, smart guys. Sure, they put a ton of time into it, but they both miss things that could have been catastrophic.
Yeah.
And luckily they were just like, a little bit of a busted lip or a black eye, but it's like, that gives you an idea. It's like how intricate these codes
Don't talk about Maddie's ribs.
Yeah, and one little thing that's missed, can result in catastrophic failure.
Yeah.
And then you're done.
The behavior of complex system, it could be almost a topic for another show, but it's I mean, I've been a software developer for decades, and there's actually scientific studies on when the bugs come in, do you just fix it? As developers, you want to fix the bug, but the impact of that bug through complex code, you can break other stuff. And there's actually been studies like a bug that happens every 10 minutes. It's minor. Well, you got to fix that because it's frequent. What's the probability of introducing something else? And that I won't go into it. It's a specialty study. So even if you take something as, I'll say, relatively simple as the 3,000 lines in HEX and the design that went into it,
2,956.
Yeah, right. There you go. Like, I'm tying this back to the copycats, not just to crap on them, but to make a point. It's like, it's all the design aspects of HEX put together that make it what it is. For example,
Yes.
OA is bad. No, it isn't. It has such a large percentage that the yield is high.
It's required.
3.6. And a lot of the copies, or there's no liquidity. Wait, that's actually a good thing because price can go way up. So most of the copies, what they did is they say, I don't like this feature, so I'm just going to quote unquote fix it. And on the surface, I can almost empathize with that desire a little bit. Like one of the copies just essentially had infinite liquidity and it went to crap because the price never went up. Shock.
Yeah.
That wasn't a copy. That was reverse. I'm still upset about that because that literally got everybody to abandon everything that made HEX great and go the absolute reverse route. And I feel like it was a troll on the community to get you to abandon everything that you've learned and how easy it was for people to just go chase the next shiny object because they believe that the next thing would pump harder. Yeah, and that's such a big misconception, is the fact that something new, because we said, well, HEX is new, so it's going to do better. So we've almost kind of, people have kind of got that idea that, oh, well, new is good. New is good. New can pump harder. Yeah, it can. It can also go to zero. Okay. Just because it's new is not enough,
and a famous one, if you remember, why didn't HEX, instead of this, why didn't they do it this way? Like, oh, how about let me scrape the income off my stake? Why are the penalties so high? Why is the interest 3.69%? Why is there no way? And the answer is because all put together has made it what it is. So you can copy and paste that all you want and tweak whatever you want, but there's a reason they all failed.
Yeah.
And that's why I really kind of empathize with like the mixed reaction that the community has had with the whole copy and pasting of Ethereum 2.0, quote unquote, the proof of stake version of Ethereum that Pulse Chain will now be copying. It's not that it's going to just be a copy and paste. It's that you're combining these super important pieces with just this piece is being updated. Instead of using the Binance copy, you're using the Ethereum Foundation copy that's the most up to date. And
it was always a fork. It was always going to be a fork, but we're building with the stronger foundation is really the way to look at it.
And a fork makes sense in the context of a network and a consensus model, and this is hundreds of thousands of lines of code. Yes. You're not gonna write a new network from scratch.
And you change
different than a token.
But it's not going to fail in the same way that things that copy and paste HEX are going to fail, because the things that are being updated are so critical. We know they work in the real world because we know that Uniswap is valuable and people love it and use it, and it's part of why crypto was invented. So to have Pulse X as, the premier decentralized exchange, I think is incredible. I think that the deflationary tokenomics of PulseChain and PulseX are super on point. I think that the distribution to people who sacrificed is really important, in the sense that probably the people who sacrificed are people who did well in HEX, and so that's a particular set of users that I think is unique in crypto. People who got crypto right is a big difference between everybody else. People who followed Richard Hart is a big difference in crypto than everybody else. So we're going to see elements come together of game theory that have never, in the history of crypto and the history of humanity, have never come together before in quite this way. And as we just said, we don't know what the price is going to do. One little tweak to the system can, change everything. But the fact that the race
That's
is on.
That's what's taking the time, because making sure that those tweaks are not going to affect the system negatively, and Richard's not going to release it, because that is the critical area where you have to make sure that those tweaks are not going to impact it in a negative way.
Yeah, and I think it's plebbery and people that just are frustrated. It's a combination of those things where people just don't understand, what exactly is happening. And then guys like Trayvon that are just trolling it, and it's like, oh, now it's just copy pasta. And it's like, just to get just to get, retweets and just to get clicks. Yeah, well, whatever. Steph's out there getting traction too. You know what I mean? It's like he's playing the game. So much of his stuff's tongue in cheek, and and he's wanting engagement.
Some people want a penny hex.
Yeah, right. Well, that too. So it's like, I think it's a combination of those things, and that ultimately, we know better, and it's the job of guys like us to bring light to those things and explain to people why that it's taken time, and why that it's good that we've got someone that's so doggedly determined to make sure it's perfect out of the box, and I think it'll pay dividends in the near to midterm future. I don't see us going past Q1 of next year before this thing's finally out. Be nice if it lines up with the bull market getting ready to resume. I think everything's going to fall together as it should.
Here's the funny thing that people need to think about. First of all, Richard did not need to make PulseChain. Okay? He didn't need to make HEX, actually. He didn't need to make HEX because he was already retired. He did it because he wanted something to do. Okay? Not because he needed the money, because he wanted something to do, and then other people weren't doing it, and he saw a need, and he made something to fill that need because he knew that he could, so he did. Guess what happened? Ethereum raised their gas rates, totally beating up his thing that he loved, punishing the people that followed him, and guess what? He said, I'm forking the network. Did he have to do that? Absolutely not. Richard could have walked away and said, my thing works fine. Sorry about the gas fees, guys. You need to talk to that Vitalik guy about that. He needs to straighten that shit out, and walked away. But what did he do? He said, no, my people are suffering because of these gas fees. This is unacceptable. We need to do, I need to do something about it, and I'm going to do something about it. This is what I'm going to do. Now, you were promised what exactly? You sacrificed the freedom of speech, freedom of movement. Okay, but what were you promised?
Nothing.
What were you supposed to do? Well, you become part of a set that allows you to get a zero value token. Congratulations. PulseChain testnet is up right now. You have a zero value token. You have been given exactly what you were promised. Let it go. He doesn't need to continue. Again, he's in a position where he can say, you know what? You don't get no damn PulseChain. I don't got to do shit for you guys. You got your zero value token. I walk. What's he doing? You know what else he could do? He could hit copy, paste, send that bitch. Guess what? PulseChain Live. It doesn't work because it's got bugs, probably critical vulnerabilities that his devs are going over right now. But he can push that button right now and make that live. Testnet's already been up and running for a year. So you want to bitch because it's not launched yet?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? He could launch it at any time. Do you want it now or you want it right? A lot of people just want it now so they can dump their coins. But you know what? That is not building the future of the crypto. That is just making another problem for the future.
Well, it's like
I don't have any problem with him and his devs taking time to come over it and try to find all the possible critical errors and vulnerabilities and try to patch it up as best as possible. Get it as close to perfect as possible. Go ahead and launch it. If there is an update that's needed because of the type of structure that it is, it can be updated, it can be integrated, and it can adopt the future updates, expansions from any Ethereum virtual machine network. Okay.
I like getting free stuff. Yeah. So, so
Right.
However the free stuff is made, whenever it's delivered, we've already gotten free airdrops.
Yeah.
That had value for participating in Pulse Chain and Pulse Hex Sacrifice, and we got exactly what we wanted, which is we had the ability to prove on the blockchain that we believe in freedom of speech and freedom of movement, and that's something that you can't even buy these days in a lot of ways, and that's something that I hold very sacred too.
And there's valuable lessons being learned in this. It's like, number one, don't invest what you can't afford to lose. Don't sacrifice the things. Don't sacrifice the things with expectations of getting anything in return. It's
you're not investing when you sacrifice.
We're also the community that pushes the narrative of this, okay? And it's very simple. Don't over leverage. Don't do what Michael Saylor says of sell your house, sell your car, put everything that you into it. You need to be in a position where you don't need to sell.
And don't sacrifice. And don't sacrifice if you expect anything from it. It's literally called a sacrifice. And it's so in a weird way, it's like a delayed gratification, playing out
exercise,
for us. It's absolutely. Thank you.
But what I'm saying is, just in general in crypto, you need, if you want to succeed, you need to have just enough in. It's a savings account, guys. You need to have just enough in that you don't need it. This is money that you put away for your future self. This is not money that you need right now. This is not a lottery ticket. This is not a quick flip. You don't borrow money, run up your credit cards, and get a bunch of coins and think you're going to sell it on a double and double your money back. Go play some blackjack. Get that shit out of your system. We're here for the long haul, right?
Are you taking shots at me, John?
And you want to be part of something and part of the technology as it's growing, then you need to be in a position where you're not forced to sell. Because if you are in a position where you are forced to sell, you are never going to be here for the 10,000 gains, 10,000x gains. You'll never make it. You won't make it a 10x. There's no locking function on Pulse, okay? You will sell on a 10x. You might even sell on a 100x. But you will never, ever see a 1,000x or a 10,000x because you will not have the fortitude to hold that position if you're thinking or you're in a position where you are required to sell a certain amount of crypto in order to maintain your lifestyle. You're not going to make it.
Johnny, are you sure there's no locking mechanism on Pulse?
Well, until Maddie makes one, I guess.
The code is
okay.
I
had to throw that out there.
Seen the code. It is not finished yet, but I have had a walkthrough of it. There's more lines of code written to simulate every single action that somebody can take and prove that there's no bugs. There's about 3 times there's like 300 lines of code for that. There's like 100 lines of code for like about 2/3 of the things we want to be able to do on it, including
but if you're over leveraged, you're not going to use a locking mechanism anyway because you're over leveraged and you're waiting.
Which is great. Yeah, this is a product for people sending money to their future selves and to be able to undo a hack and under certain circumstances, and that's somebody could be as short-term minded as wanting to stop moving their funds for a week at a time, because you can always withdraw and wait a week to get the money.
There are a couple aspects of it that I thought were kind of interesting. Is for people that don't have control, like the self-rationing function, and I think that the added security or being able to stop hacks feature would be, of use. So I gave Maddie a real hard time about it first time around because he's got high expectations of changing people's behaviors, and unfortunately, people are very behavioral change resistant.
You got to start somewhere.
Hey, future us.
Hey
everybody. I'm here. What did I miss?
The IQ of the room just went up.
Oh, come on.
Johnny was just saying that he was hard on Time Pays Me at first when it was going by a different name, but he appreciates some of the ideas there and is excited to see it.
And you missed Maddie saying he is testing his code very thoroughly.
Is he?
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know.
Or it is being tested.
That's right.
Very good to know. Very good
guys,
to know.
I'm going to tag out.
System is in good software. There's more test code than actual functionality code.
Yeah, that can be a thing for sure.
I'm going to tag out so Future has more opportunity to talk. So I'm over my limit that I.
Thanks for being here, man. I appreciate the support.
Thanks absolutely, man. Thanks for inviting me. Good to be on with all you guys. Keep up the good fight.
Toby.
See you guys.
See you, Toby. Come back another day.
Come back.
I heard that.
Come back. Come back. Oh man, it's the only reason I came here. Well, if Toby's gone, I'll see you later.
No.
No rug, man. No rug. Haven't seen you in a while.
What's going on, Future Us?
Just got back from the airfield. I was actually listening to. I'm trying to eat at the same time, being ever so rude. I was listening to Mr. Johnny Chaos just recently talking about certain things to do with sacrifices and that. And here, amen, totally agree with you. Been beating that drum in Maddie's ear anyway since day one. Haven't I, Maddie?
That's right.
Look up.
We got to get our, like wording matters when educating, and I always appreciate like people when they can give me really good feedback on how I can be more clear, and just having people in crypto who I trust and can learn from, and there can be a back and forth is a huge blessing. So yeah, I'm very thankful that I have people who can correct me and let me know when I can say something more clearly.
I don't think I've ever done that, but yeah. Congrats to everyone for doing that.
Yeah.
Good on you. Can I put my 2 cents worth in then about the whole sacrifice thing?
Throw it down, Future Us.
Because nobody believes Johnny, right? He's just making shit up. So here's my take on it. So when we were Hexicans, we are Hexicans. We're also crypto enthusiasts, and we come across this guy Richard, and he does a bunch of stuff that we really appreciate. I like the way he thinks. I'm very intrigued by the way he talks and how that changes from time to time. And I'm basically just on board with the whole party. And so when we were locked down and someone was talking about, let's make a political statement. Now, I'm serious about this. I ain't joking.
Yeah.
Freedom of speech, freedom of movement. I was like, well, I did fairly well out of HEX, which was this man's thing, and I have a bit of spare. And hell yeah, I'll sacrifice for that in principle. And it'll be really cool if I get something out of it one day. The fact is, I already got a bunch out of it. So for me, it was kind of like paying back. I'll stop jumping around doing gymnastics now. Whew. Opening air vents. And now I knew, of course, that people would probably assume that this was just the use of a term to get around some legalese or whatever. And it may have that benefit, it may not. But it was a sacrifice. And that's what was offered. Sacrifice to a cause, to a belief. And that's what should have been done. And anyone who misinterpreted that or treated it like some kind of an investment, I understand it because, arguments can be made, but it wasn't. It was very, very clear. And I'm just so over hearing people bitch about it. Richard doesn't know it's a damn thing, regardless of what Johnny said. Har har.
He actually gave it to us. We've already got it. We've got Pulse Chain Test Net. We got 0 value tokens dropped at a 0 value. There they are. They're worth 0.
That's right.
We technically got it. So if you expect any more than that, okay.
So all sarcasm aside, Johnny, I totally agree with you because it's totally factually correct. It's just that simple. And I'm just so over people, you know, and all these other scam bullshit things that are having their quote unquote sacrifices. You know, it's just like where that's not a sacrifice at all. That is clearly an invite to invest. It's just not the same thing. And it's just annoying. I don't know, maybe I'm a purist or something, or, you know, maybe my head's too far up my own ass or something or other, but I kind of just, I just kind of take stuff as read, you know. It was.
I tried not to even talk about, you know, as far as telling my friends. I told my friends about the sacrifice, you know, to be part of that set, and it worked out really well. We've got free airdrops for that and everything, and you know, so technically we've already received funds as a result of being part of that sacrifice set already.
It's over for sure already.
So, you know, but I tried not to make it public because I didn't really see it as a public thing. You know, I you know, I saw it in a way is like you said, you know, giving back. You know, we had already made so much HEX. So what did I sacrifice? I sacrificed HEX. I gave it back. I have plenty of HEX. That, you know,
vote of confidence also for you know, the whole thing that we're all doing together, independently but together, you know. It felt good, and it still feels good.
And it's like, you know, crowdfunding for future, you know, it feels it's not, but I mean it's
it's not.
It's just saying thank you from my point of view, and if something good comes out, well, I mean, you know, as advertised, as read the damn contract. Not that there was one, but you know what I mean.
There was a full disclaimer, and I read the full
disclaimer. You are to receive absolutely nothing. You know.
Oh, okay.
It was full disclaimer. You get nothing. You know, this is a sacrifice for those who want to support free speech. This is a sacrifice for those. Speaking of free speech, that's kind of what we're getting prosecuted on right now. So it's very important to have free speech, you know?
And you know, moving funds around, monetary value is definitely a form of communication, ratified as such in courts and whatnot. So when I sacrificed for freedom of speech and freedom of movement, I felt that those funds were going in a direction that would help for that cause because of the belief that the person that was probably getting it holds. So, you know, it's just, I just don't understand why people don't get it. Maybe they're just late to the party, or
the medium is the message. Using money as free
because they're
speech
used to the old model of ICOs.
Yeah,
so they're just assuming it's and I can see that. I mean, from if you just at a quick glance, it does. I guess you can definitely make the argument, I guess, that it's I just changed the word to try and get around something. But I guess you had to be a Hexagon to really understand the you know,
and
the
there are a lot of non-Hexagons who jumped on the bandwagon because they didn't want to miss the next HEX.
Yeah,
and those non-Hexagons that didn't want to miss the next HEX weren't here for the development of HEX, and realizing that there are software delays, and realizing that when HEX was launched and it was delayed, you know, that it had to be perfect because it was immutable. There were not going to be any upgrades. It was a complete game cartridge that only operated within a certain set of predetermined parameters that adjust based on the code, but it had to be fully functional. There's no adding to it, and that's why we have the derivatives and stuff that we do now, because people wanted to add features to it that you can't add to the code, you can't change. So all they could do is create derivatives or build onto it to create secondary functions that allow different capabilities for different use cases. So it had to be perfect. It was unchangeable, and it was delayed. Delays happen. Have you ever look at what they did with Cyberpunk, the video game? That thing was delayed, and they finally pushed it out to market, and it sucked. And you're going to spend more time trying to update that son of a gun than anything else. Every time you hook up your system, right? So we don't want.
But there's no delay because there's nothing promised.
Well,
there's a delay. There's a delay on getting low gas fees.
There's a delay on getting low gas fees.
Separate, and that's something. That's where Pulse Chain started, and I think that's where people are getting it twisted. Is like we have all been clamor for low fees since before Pulse Chain was in development, and so the fact that people sacrificed was also, I think, there were two separate things that were going on at the same time. Is like we wanted lower fees, and we wanted, and we wanted to do our free speech. We wanted to give back, and to prove a point politically. And so those two things, while being related, they are not. They didn't directly cause each other, and they weren't part of some investing thing. It's like you want low fees because of the crypto that you're using has changed. Ethereum changed from having penny fees to multi-dollar fees.
And then later it turned into the speculation of when this thing launches, that it's going to go up in value. Then people got all crazy and started saying, well, if X did a 10,000X, then Pulse should do a 10,000X. Even though there's something very important to remember here, is that they are two totally different designs.
Yeah.
That's very much an assumption. The market will decide what the market decides, and it's very, very often the opposite of what the majority of people or the narrative says it is. So
and they're different designs. A plane is going to beat a car in a race if you're flying. If you're trying to drive cross country, right? So it's they're very different designs. They're meant for different purposes, and the problem is people did take it as an investment. People made their own decisions. People ran up credit cards. People pulled money together. People did all of these things and sacrificed.
People knew what they were doing.
And
I would assume in most cases
they're making a bet.
Because even to find the sacrifice address, you had to know what it was called. And if you're not asking the question of like, what does sacrifice mean? It's not like people were misquoting what that means. It's very, it's very, so I think where people really got it twisted is we all want low fees. We want them yesterday.
Yeah.
We're being persecuted differently than other DeFi projects in crypto, not only on the listing front, but on the fee front. Ethereum, in all of its code is law, like BS, they raised our fees to use write to disk like storage function, while everything else in crypto that is super scammy didn't get their fees raised. And so the high fees issue, I think, is the part that I'm still like, come on, Pulse Chain, like let's go. And then if Pulse Chain is super unvaluable, then that keeps the fee problem solved. If Pulse Chain goes up in value, then there's going to have to be more horizontal scaling in order to control the fee problem. But look, we're all going to be, complaining that we don't have what we wanted for crypto if Pulse Chain ends up with high fees. Even if it makes all of us rich, that is not going to solve the problem of onboarding the world and making the world a better place. So I hope that people revisit in their own minds what information they used to go about sacrificing, and can also maybe better verbalize what it is that we're so impatient for, is mostly lower fees in my case, and I think in a lot of cases.
That's still the golden feature we're looking for, at least I agree, in my opinion, Maddie. That was also the last straw for Richard. That's when he said, screw this, I'm forking it. That Ethereum enhancement, I forget what it was called, where the S-load function was suddenly 3 times more expensive than it was. That's when Richard finally said enough is enough. And fees were low for a while, but they started creeping back up again recently for a lot of reasons. And people are getting fired up about the fees. And also for a couple years now, a lot of people that wanted to invest in HEX, but maybe not put a ton of capital in, they flat out told me in the groups I was in, the chats, I can't buy it because of the gas fees. Like maybe they wanted to buy $500 or $600 worth for starters. Not a bad.
By the time they're done, they lose $100 worth of it.
They're not going to do that for $50 to $100. They're just not. So we don't talk about those folks that much anymore, but they're out there. If they get a network where they can purchase HEX for dirt cheap for pennies, they're going to do it. That held them out for a while.
Yeah. That'll be really cool. Really, really cool.
Placing restrictions on anyone in terms of their ability to afford to or be able to transact is limiting their free speech within that system. So that's the big deal for me. So my money went towards so my money, if I were to really rationalize it, went gleefully towards an entity that appears to be seriously about fixing that problem and a lot more besides. Before HEX came out, and I've heard others say this in the HEX community, we were all pretty much in despair that this entire, those of us that have been around, and which is a lot of the Hexicans, been around for one or more, bull bear cycles, and seen the sorts of thing, the way the crypto community and just the whole atmosphere had changed, from we're going to set the world free to, we need fancy exchanges and ETFs and all this other nonsense. And everything was, I'll use the term corrupt. It's probably not quite the right term, but it had changed radically from the whole thing had changed from the view that we had. It had been kind of taken over and absconded by big money, and it wasn't what I believe Bitcoin was originally designed to solve. And we were in despair about all of this, right? We had all these smart contracts, but they had freaking admin keys out the wazoo, no audits, scams left, right, and center, and the whole thing was just like, why I'm not even interested in this crap anymore. I've had it. It's clearly been derailed, and I was very sad. And then I'd been listening to, lots of different YouTubers and that, and I was still interested in the topic, came across Richard, and, my first instinct, because of just the way he was back in the day, was like, this guy's a bit, I don't know, like up himself or whatever, self-congratulatory and all the rest of it, and that's sort of not the way we do things around my part of the world, but he spoke truth regardless, and so I stuck with it. And then 2 years went by, almost, and HEX finally came out, and I'd heard a bit about the design of an on and off. Actually took about a 3-month sabbatical and came back to it just after it had launched. But anyway, I read the code, I looked at the whole thing, no admin keys. I started learning the game theory of it all, and I was like, holy crap, man, this really is what was said that was being aimed for, and that is crypto the way crypto is bloody well supposed to be. And since then we've adopted true DeFi and various other terms as they became popular. But I mean, that's a big deal, man, to go from the whole crypto scene just dissolving into this debauchery of bullshit, to having real crypto back again, Bitcoin with a proof of work change as the narrative became. That was a freaking big deal. And one man did that. So if he's doing something else and I got some spare cash on account of something he did for me prior, hell yeah, I'm going to sacrifice for a good cause and know that the money's at least going to someone that sort of has a similar idea about, the ideals of where this whole damn thing's supposed to be, right? So that's, for me personally, what I did. And all the rest of it and all the complaining and everything, to me, just feels, and it's just exactly like the same debauchery and bullshit that we had before HEX. People haven't, understandably, I suppose, haven't understood the real guts, the core of what's actually going on here. It's a movement. It's a movement to direct crypto and freedom of speech, freedom of ability to transfer value, etc., in that direction again after all this time. Because after 2017, with all the ICOs and everything else, it all just completely fell apart. The ETFs, and it just, it was gone.
I was done, man. I was done.
Me too.
And when I ran across Richard and I saw what Richard was building, and I said, okay, let me take a look at this. Because if this guy's doing what he says he's doing, then this might be worth sticking around for. Because I was done, man. I had enough of every broken promise, bullshit use case, garbage coin, coin of the month bullshit going on. I was so done, right? You can't trust anyone. You can't trust the exchanges. Exchanges going down. Freaking scam wicks everywhere on the freaking leverage trading platforms. I was so sick and bloody tired of crypto. And that's what frustrates me, is because I see like some of our influencers starting to head that direction where we're going like backwards. And it frustrates me because I've already endured the horrors in 2017. I've already seen all the garbage, all the narratives, the rebranding and narratives. Dear God, dude, they repackage, rebrand, and re-release the same garbage for the past, 5 years. They just keep dropping out, putting a new label and going, this time it's different. No, they're not trying to innovate. They're not trying to, they're not trying to stick to the principles of crypto. Everything's got to be some kind of freaking cash grab. So when I ran across HEX, I saw this thing and I said, oh my God, you mean something self-sovereignty you can produce your own passive income with, and you're not, at anybody else's disposal? Let me take a better look at that, because that's what I'm
immutable.
I was looking for, some kind of self-sovereign passive income, period. And if HEX didn't come along, I would never have spoken about a cryptocurrency publicly ever, because it's dumb. It's gambling. Most of it is gambling.
Well, that's right. And once we'd seen what would happen with Blockstream coming in and, in my own words, perverting the whole Bitcoin thing, to doom it to hell, basically. Again, strictly my words, but I'm not overstating it from my perspective. And then things like EOS again did its thing and then basically got taken over and destroyed. Not that I was ever into EOS, because I didn't like the idea that people could vote to decide whether I keep my money or not. But nevertheless, I just saw this big money takeovers left, right, and center, and just the whole spirit of what it was all supposed to be about just taken over. Like the war was lost, basically. And that was that. It was done. It was clear to me that this was never going to come right. And oh well, we tried. Just another, decade in the history of whatever. And then HEX came along and was like, holy shit. Because I didn't think there was a way to fix it. I couldn't see how it could be fixed.
I didn't think there was a way to fix it either. I mean, it seemed to me like the only industry where people could make false promises and promise you things that they were never intending to actually fulfill, and just turn around and make a new coin next month and then make the same sales pitch that they did prior and just turn around and do it all over again to a new set of people. I mean, that's what it seemed like to me. And it's very frustrating being a person that brings physical objects into the real world and getting jobs based on my merit and having to actually sell things that do what they say they're supposed to do, and then see these people literally copy and paste the code and make millions of dollars, and not following through on a goddamn thing that they say they're going to do. And
Yep.
and like I said, I was done. And now they're making us feel bad about talking about Hex because now we're in trouble for being a fan of something that might actually really change this space, really make this space whole again.
Well, from a technical point of view, just looking at its design and everything, it does fix the problem. And if it can be popularized, and well done, Hexicans, it's been popularized, But why are we so almost courageously in the current environment enthusiastic about the whole thing?
Yeah.
Now, I suppose a lot of people made a lot of money out of it, but if I hadn't made the money I made out of it, I still would have been, thank God, this fixes the problem. And I'm serious about that. It really does. It's properly immutable code, well designed, good game theory, blah, blah, blah. Take that. Sorry, I'll shut up.
Future essay. I would say the one word to sum it up is hope.
Hope. Yes.
Hope.
That's a good word. It gives you, it went from totally unrecoverable. I can't think of any way, and it's not like I didn't try, to ever that this could ever be fixed. I was never under any delusion that I might have been able to personally fix it, but it seemed to me that it was over. Like Johnny says, there's just no way to fix this. And Richard came along and spent 2 years starting from a basic idea of something and then working on it and adding to it and taking from it and turning it, various different ways until finally Hex. I mean, it wasn't even called Hex. Well, initially it didn't have a name, but it might have been called Strape. And then there was something else. And then it eventually, the whole thing evolved. It took 2 years and we were all there. And as it came to be, and then even after it launched, I'm like, well, I can see the intentions there, but let's actually check this thing out, And I didn't put a cent into it for at least a month, because I was trying to understand the code and the game theory and everything, reading it only from code. And I'm a programmer, but that's not easy to sort of reverse engineer game theory out of some computer code. That isn't easy at all. That took a lot of time to understand.
Respect.
Well, I would bet all of us have tried to figure out how to add more alpha into the system, but I'll tell you, I'll be damned to figure out a different contract. Now, maybe Maddie and you are working on this one, and that's going to be a new thing, but it's hard to figure out how to build something new. I mean, sure, you can go do a meme. Okay. I can go create a coin and airdrop a whole bunch. I can go try to copy and change the details like Monkey was saying, none of them really seem like they're any better, so where's the new alpha?
The best inventions come out of necessity, and there was a need because players were like taken out of the game because there was the barrier of the entry to Bitcoin, not just the price, but the price to be one of the people that are producing that were next to the source. So the best developments come out of necessity. So there has to be an actual problem first to solve. Pulse is coming out of the necessity to fix gas fees. Maddie's building what he's building because Pulse doesn't currently have a locking mechanism. So everything comes out of necessity. Even what the guys attempted to do with the derivatives was they were trying to make it accommodating for people that wanted to go around the system, so to speak, and not have to have the locking mechanism, but still benefit from that locking mechanism. So I mean, it's all created out of necessity. But what needed to happen was we needed somebody to actually follow through on what they said they were going to do. And this is like crypto first in a long time. And here we are celebrating the fact that somebody built something that does what it's designed to do, runs 100% uptime flawlessly, and now that's bad, right? It's bad because we want to share people what we discovered.
Well, it's also I mean, like hope, right? The hope that Monkey said. I mean, like, so there's only one ray of hope, And one of the things, if the hope is going to turn into reality, is that there needs to be the resources for the person who's pulling this off and the people they employ to get the job done. Now, we can sit back and say, oh, well, that Richard Hart guy, he's probably a multi-billionaire. He doesn't need any money from us, rah, rah, rah. But, I mean, how dare you, right? That's of course he does. If we've got it, especially if we got it from profits from his previous efforts and design input and whatnot, then we should be putting our money where our mouth is. If we want this to be the thing that fixes crypto, brings it back to where it should be, which it potentially could. Well, it does technically. It's just goodness only knows what the market's going to do with it over time. Hopefully it'll survive. It looks good so far. But we should be supporting that financially, not just, giving it lip service and going blah, 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 blah. Those of us who can, especially if we've been enabled through previous works from the same person, we should be helping out. And this whole sitting back and going, oh, he's getting all the money, he's a billionaire, why doesn't he just pay for it all? I mean, fuck you, right? He's providing value and we want it to work. So we're putting our fucking money where our mouth is.
No one asked anybody for anything. It was your choice.
That's true.
Nobody asked anybody for anything.
Well, like I said, I paid for hope.
Your reason for sacrificing is your reason.
Is my reason.
Nobody asked
I paid for hope. I paid to solidify the hope that I have. And thank you so much for bringing that word up because that really is true to my heart, what it feels like. There is some hope in this. And I can't see what kind of universe should something materialize that's something I want, that's so dreamy and so lofty, and I didn't do a damn thing for it, throw any money at it, do anything, I had to communicate to the universe or whatever that I'm serious about this hope and that I want. And this is the whole spirit of what crypto was all about in Bitcoin in the early days. That's what we were all about. Fuck the price, we all said. It's just if I can buy a pizza with it, holy shit! You just how profound that was at the time when Bitcoin, being the only cryptocurrency in the world at the time, of course, and a whole new thing. The fact that it was working was lost on the vast majority of people, and understandably so. I mean, you had to be a super nerd, right?
I wonder if Hexo gets the claim his $50,000 pizzas as a tax loss.
Yeah, I don't know.
Something good could come out of
how it works. It's at the time of
if he bought the pizza to feed staff who were working after hours, he might be able to.
He ain't got no damn staff. Shit.
We're not going to joke about tax advice, but I love the sentiment.
Yeah.
Hey, whoever Johnny said things get built out of necessity, it made me think that HEX was built 3 years ago and it was done, so it's been the same for 3 years. But the dynamics of the outside world and the larger crypto community and financial space changes as we go along. So when I try to onboard or explain HEX to new people, I've emphasized different parts of it over time. Like at the beginning, It was just the fact that it was the game theory of a T-share and how the price in HEX terms always goes up. That was new and radical and interesting, in my opinion, and needed to be communicated. And in my opinion, now in 2022, we have in my opinion, the best part of the HEX design and ecosystem to emphasize is you can get yield without those third-party middlemen that go bankrupt. I mean, this is all a truism to us. It's almost boring, right? Not your crypto, but now that's the first thing I talk to people about. You can get yield without giving your money away first.
From your own wallet, self-sovereignty. It's all about self-sovereignty.
Because I have some.
What crypto was invented to begin with was not to enrich middlemen. Crypto was supposed to be peer-to-peer transactions, and that's what regulation should show. Regulation should say you can deal peer-to-peer, whatever. You're not doing anything wrong. It's no different than trading your comic book cards or comic books or baseball cards or whatever. It's literally a picture and a code that's attached to it.
So that's what I start with now when I talk to people. And I was talking to a longtime friend, either a no coiner or minimal coiner. Even they've heard of Celsius because it was in the news, for example. And
Johnny is not deluded. Richard built it to win. He had enough money. Marcus said.
That comment too. So silly. So everyone can understand. You give your money to a company and they steal it or go bankrupt. Well, here's a token in the crazy crypto world where you can earn the yield without surrendering your coins. So I'm telling you guys what you already know, but I'm suggesting it as an emphasis corresponding to the current time.
It's certainly very, very topical at the moment, is it not?
Yes.
And I don't give a shit how much Richard has or how much money Richard has.
Yeah,
you know what I care about? The fact that I'm able to make my own coins self-sovereignly. Those coins have a market value, and I don't give a shit about what Richard has, what he owns, what he wears. If he wants to dance naked with chickens, I don't give a shit.
Well, you guys do
Although
realize
I'd like to see that.
for people to learn about the trustless APY thing, that's one of the goals of Time Pays Me, and it would be really interesting if somebody made a company where you could, because Time Pays Me, you can withdraw weekly, a drip, and so if you if you found the right company to build on to Time Pays Me, you could get a pizza every week from your drip. That'd be pretty cool.
You know why? Maddie, why?
Sounds like expectations of pizza.
You know why people try to preach this line of this is a man that is doing this to enrich themselves? Because if they were in that position, that's how they would act. Because they're coming from a point of poverty, not a point of an abundance. Let me tell you a little something. People make shit because they can, right? People make shit so they can say, I built that. Look at it. It's magnificent. I built that. They're called monuments. People build them to show them off and boast about being able to achieve things that nobody before them has ever been able to do. And there is not an amount of money that can compensate for the ability to do that because you can't buy it. And somebody who has plenty of money does not worry about making more money when they have an abundance. What they worry about is leaving a mark on the world so that they can say, I did that. That's my accomplishment. Something that money can't buy. When you can buy anything that you want, it's pretty damn boring. But even people that aren't wealthy like to brag about their achievements. People that have skills and abilities to build, they like to be able to point and say, I did that. I've got a 6-foot dragon head in the other room here. Did I get any monetary compensation for building that? No. I built it because I damn well could. And money wasn't an object. So there you go. Not everybody looks at things the way that you do. And just because you're chasing a dollar doesn't mean everybody has to chase that damn dollar, because that's in your head. That's called projection.
Yeah. And this idea that Richard had the money so he doesn't need any more, it's missing the point. The point is you that attitude is saying, give me. I don't want to pay anything for it. Just give me. Give.
But you'll act differently if you pay for it. And that's part of what you need in this system. You need some cost to yourself in a lot of systems in order to make them valuable to the person who's using them. And so it's a two-way street, I think. And if you just took all the wealth in the world and gave it to people without any skills or tools attached, then the money would end up right where it was before, and you just have a bunch more addiction problems or a bunch more dependency problems.
I'm just talking about the attitude of expecting the world for no input. You know.
Speaking of which,
It's
guys,
really
we're
annoying.
right here, right now. Anybody getting paid? Nope. What are we
I will
doing?
state for the record,
I'm
legally,
trying to dig myself out of
I
a
am
hole
not
personally.
Well,
being
I'll tell
paid
you
by
what we're doing.
anybody.
We are
for
giving our most
anything.
precious commodity, future us. We are giving our
I'm not
most
being
precious
paid.
commodity away for free right now. You know what
We
that is?
are.
That's our time.
And I'm not. I for me, I can say I'm not being paid by anyone for anything for any purpose. Period.
At all.
And I'm happy. And if you don't understand that, well, just let me tell you, there's a way to live that doesn't necessarily involve a 9 to 5, and it's a fucking hard road getting there, but it does exist. So and another reason I'm saying that is just try and give some support to the truth of it. It's true.
Absolutely.
Okay, it's true. There are people in the world, blessed be we, who for at least some period of time in their life get to live without having to work every bloody day. We get to think and contribute other ways. And I have somehow or rather found myself in that spot. But this is my time, and it's still precious. So there you go. Will it last forever? I have no idea. But, you know, it's possible for people. I'm trying to extend on what Johnny said. It's possible for people to want to do things and to do things not motivated by making money. Now, that's really hard to understand when you're, when you're poor. I've been bankrupt twice. I'm not good with money, typically speaking.
Yeah, me too, Futurist. Me too.
You know, I've been staring at an empty flat with half a suitcase of clothes that weren't exactly new, and realizing that's all I had to my name in the whole world, and I've questioned whether I want to even continue living, quite frankly, under those circumstances. Now, I also live in a country where there's a social welfare system that sort of picks up people that have fucked up like I had, and you know, it's not like I was going to be destitute or anything, which helped. But man, it was hard, and I did that twice, and neither time was it intended, you know. And you hear this sort of story all the time. I'm not trying to make a thing out of it just because it's me. I mean, you know, people, it just happens. But there are reasons to do things, and people who have the ability and the, you know, just the blessed good fortune, frankly, to be able to do things just because they think it's right or it's what should be in the world. And one way to be in that position is to be super freaking wealthy and somehow not corrupted. That's extremely rare.
Yes.
And I'm not making any claims that anyone we know is or is not, but it exists. It does exist. And, you know, to be part of that story, to be inside of that movement, it's, you know, we'll look back in 10, 15, 20 years and realize just how epic
if you discover a unicorn, your friends are never going to believe you unless you hold on to that unicorn and you show it to them and you say, here it is. No, really, 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 guys, it's real. You know, nobody's going to believe it until they see it for themselves, you know. And even your closest friends, they still ain't going to freaking believe you, you know. So
I like when people are able to eloquently express gratitude like Future Us has in the last 20 minutes.
Totally.
Is that what it is? Gratitude? Yeah, it is. No, thank you. Yeah, that is what I'm trying to express. I was sort of dancing around it, couldn't quite pin it down, but it is. It's extreme gratitude.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it is. Thank you. And as for the unicorns, those are easy. Mr. Snuffleupagus, I'm still working on. So that's a Sesame Street thing for people that are old enough to remember.
Hey guys, I'm gonna have to bounce. I have to be somewhere.
Hey, thanks
Me
for
too. I sucked up a bunch of time. Good to see you, Hex Monkey.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Thanks for having me.
Nice to see you, Hex Monkey.
Go well.
Coverage of lots of topics. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys.
See you next time.
Yeah, I'm going to skate out on you guys too.
Yeah,
I do realize that I'm giving up that precious commodity of my time for absolutely free.
That's right.
And
yeah, so Johnny just found out he's not getting paid for this appearance, and we're gonna have to shut it down for that reason. But this has been one of the best episodes we've had recently, and so thanks everybody for being here. Can we go around the room and tell people how to find us or not find us?
Oh God, I don't want him to find me anymore.
That's fine.
I don't even know how to find me at the moment. So
okay,
you can look for me in the future at
Okay.
hexpire.io.
Awesome. And
Cool.
so this has been another great episode. Thanks everybody for being on. Hit the like and subscribe button. And until next time, my friends, stake wisely and peace out.
cheers.